What's up, everybody? Welcome to this Halloween Horror Nights preview live stream. So, Conductor and I have been talking about this for a while because I think we're both really excited for Halloween Horror Nights this year. And we were talking about doing it, and then I realized, now's a good time because I don't know about here. I don't know how it's going to go in Orlando tonight, but it is just raining like all day. I was telling Conductor, like, it just makes me want to just lay down. Like, it's just been all day like a dreary, like the Fray music video or something. I was like, geez, but it I don't know, maybe hopefully it didn't get rain out tonight. I did see we're in Disney World, there was like monsoons. Did you see some of the footage of people in the parks?
I did.
Yeah,
It was really bad.
Yeah, that's the thing down here is like when it rains hard. I've never been anywhere else where if you're on the highway, I've actually had times where I've had to pull over because I just can't see anything. And it's just, if you give it like 5 minutes, it'll usually pass. But man, it can come down pretty quick. So if you're in a theme park and that happens, it's just, go for cover. Yeah. But, well, I'm joined by Mr. Theme Park Conductor, if you guys aren't aware. So this is going to be like an East Coast, West Coast type thing. Because obviously Conductor's out on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. So we're going to go through Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights, what they have going on. Because there are some houses and some themes that are going to both of them. And then we'll talk about Orlando's and then kind of, what we're looking forward to and anything that sticks out there. There's some interesting houses that, especially like the original concept ones. I always think those are kind of cool, like some of the stuff they can do there. But before we get into that, what's up, everybody in the chat? I know I had a few people in here before it started. Ready for it to go. We got Bink Con Pro. Says, hey, what's up? We got XOXO Alexandria. And we got, what's up, Jake? Jake Finello says, hey, guys, what's up? And then we got Theme Park Wizard with 440 Joules with Unk Alert. Thank you, Wizard. Hope you're doing well. All right, before we get going, actually, Conductor. Well, we got OG in here too. What's up, OG? OG's hanging out. Where can they find you? What you got going on? And if they're watching from my end, what can they find on your channel and what you have going on the internet?
Absolutely. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1, and every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we have our amazing guest, Jared from Capture the Magic, our East Coast correspondent. Great time. Maybe talking about the theme parks, maybe talking about a little Kirkland bidet action. Who knows? It's a good time. It's a really good time. We talk everything about the theme parks, a little bit of studio stuff, and up and coming Halloween Horror Nights, which, like Jared said in the intro, we are both excited to go to.
I'm very excited. And yeah, go check out Conductor. Go subscribe over there. You just hit 9,000 subs, correct?
So actually, currently right now, as it sits, I am at 9717. So I am less than 300 away from 10,000.
Get him over that 10,000 hump. I remember, when you're doing this, yeah, like the 1,000, I think, is the hardest one to get to when you first start. Because that is just the one that, sometimes it'll take years before you get there. And then it kind of goes quicker. But that 10,000, sometimes you're just like, come on. Like, it's there. But that's cool. Go subscribe over there. And I'm looking forward to this year. This is the first year that my wife and I are going to have Express Pass. Oh, so wow. I've never done it with Express Pass before. I've done it where we don't get in there early, which I would not recommend. I did that with a friend a couple of years ago. Actually, the first time I went was that way. And I think we did like 3 houses, and the guys that are with, like, they weren't wanting to wait in line. So it's just like, once you hit about like 9 o'clock, everything's like 100-minute wait. And I was just like, well, all right. And we just kind of hung out and then didn't do a whole lot. And then I have done it where you get early entry. And I know and we'll talk about the differences because I know it probably operates a little bit different in Hollywood than Orlando. But do you usually do Express Pass?
So this is how my lineup goes. So the first night I've done the RIP tour. That's how I run it. RIP tour the first night. Second night, I'll use the general admission with early entry, because with the Platinum Pass, which I have, you get a free ticket to Halloween Horror Nights. So that's the second night. The third night, I usually do early entry with Express Unlimited.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. We do want to do the early what are they, the premium Scream night. I think next year we may do that because that looks like, I mean, you get all the food, you get to go through the house as much as you want. So as long as they don't oversell, which I think this year they didn't. I know last year they kind of oversold that. And then this year it seems like a much better experience. There was one lady on Instagram that was saying that they did like they did all the some of the houses like 9 times. Like they were able to just go through them constantly. And I'm like, that's the way to do it right there. So we'll see how this year goes. But yeah, the RIP tour, that always looked like fun too. Because you get to go like right. You don't have to even go through the express line. You just get right into the house, correct?
Yes. So actually, in years past, that has been the case with obviously your tour guide, and then after, depending on what time slot you go through, you can actually hit that RIP tour line after your tour is done and use that credential for the rest of the night. But it's also been, which people were not happy about, where you can use the RIP tour line with your tour guide, but then you get thrown into the express line after your tour is done. It's like you
Okay.
pay for the most expensive ticket and you're mixed in with express people that paid $300 less than you.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point. I guess at least it's not the standby, but yeah,
Yeah.
I want to check that out. Some we've never done the RIP, so I've seen it from afar, and I'm like, man, that would be like when you're waiting in that line, you see those people just come right up, you're just like, oh,
I'm
but
I'm I'm telling you right now, Jared, when I do come out there, because I do want to do Halloween Horror Nights out there in Orlando. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think my first time going out there, I'm doing the RIP tour, and if you and the missus want to do it, I'm down. Let's
I'm
do
down.
it.
I'm down. That'd be the way to do it. I agree. It's a fun time, and it just gets more popular out here. Like every year, this thing just grows and grows and grows. But Monica Robs here says going to HHN tonight, trying to wait out the rain before I leave the house. Yeah, it's. I imagine it's going to be off and on. I looked at the radar. Like it's not like a huge thing. It just looks like it's scattered, but it could be one of those days where it just rains a whole lot. But we'll see
Okay.
here. But all right, let's go ahead and start talking about Hollywood's version. Now, obviously, I'm on the East Coast. I don't know the specifics about how this works out in Hollywood. So let me make sure I got the right one here. Which one? Oh, updated. Okay. There we go. So obviously, there's going to be, it's a very similar event, obviously, but there's going to be some differences when you're talking about the different coasts here. So Hollywood's version, let's see, your guys' dates are September 3rd to November 1st. Pretty simple. Obviously, it's separate ticketed event, so you have to actually have a ticket to Halloween Horror Nights to go to this. You can't just be in the park and then just go through it. You got to have a separate thing here. So obviously, the big part of this is the haunted houses. So we'll go through the houses real quick here, and then we'll just talk about some of the ones that are similar, what you're looking forward to. And if I'm leaving out anything pertaining to how this works in Hollywood, feel free to tell me, Jared, you don't know what you're talking about, and let me tell you what's going on here. So obviously, we have Centers, which this one's also in Orlando, obviously based off the movie. I think this one's going to be a pretty popular one. Have you seen Centers, by the way? I haven't seen the movie.
I have not.
I haven't either. Yeah. Honestly, I'm one of these people where I hate the horror movie genre, but I love Halloween Horror Nights. I know it doesn't make any sense at all, and I know OG. Well, first off, shout out to OG for a $5 here. Says congrats to both you on big milestones for your channels. Cap nearly 20K and Conductor nearly 10K. Thank you, OG. And yes, absolutely. Getting close. I think we're within I think it was close to 1,000 almost before 20. So it's getting there. It's getting there, but I appreciate that. But I'm like OG. OG's the same way. And so is Wizard. He says he's the same way too. So a lot of times I don't see these movies before I go through them. Like if it's like one of these, horror movies, like I'm not going to watch it beforehand. Those Sinners is more of a, I mean, I guess it's kind of like it's not a horror movie in the classical sense of like gore and stuff like that, but it's probably much more of like a, what do they call that? Not a drama, but a thriller, maybe something like that. But so a lot of these houses I don't know a lot about, but Sinners is there. Obviously, I know the story of Sinners essentially. Stranger Things 5. This one also is in Orlando. But something to note, and I think most of the time this is the case, is that even though it'll be the same IP, a lot of times it's different houses. Like the houses are not identical on both coasts, which I do think is a cool thing.
I actually do think it's a cool thing. Like, for example, last year when we both had Terrifier, I heard people that went went to Orlando's and then came to Hollywood's and did a comparison, they actually said Orlando's was a little bit better because towards the end, you guys had two different pathways in your houses. So that way you can either pick the dry path or the wet path, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember that one. And that's the thing. Sometimes you'll hear people say like the Hollywood version is better, Orlando's, but I think that is cool to not have the exact. So even if you have the same IP, you do have differences in the experiences. And you know, like hopefully next year, we're planning on going out to California out there. So we might time it out to do Halloween Horror Nights out there and then Orlando. I would love to do a comparison of just what it's
sure.
like. Because one of the differences, you guys can film in the haunted houses, correct?
We can.
Okay. So in Orlando, unless you are a big time media, you get the basic permission to do it. We cannot. Because I think if they did, these wait times would be even worse because everybody's got their phone out, taking longer and stuff like that. So that is one main difference is, yeah, we can't film in the houses unless you have explicit permission to do so, which I've never asked. I imagine I wouldn't get it, but I've never actually asked if I can or not. But yeah, so Stranger Things 5 is another house, obviously based off season 5 of Stranger Things. Hellraiser is going to be at both as well. Looks like just a very heartwarming type of movie for the family, you know, in a realm of pure pain. Haunted house. I'm just like, that doesn't sound like a good time, but in a haunted house, it can be. But that one also at both. Evil Dead Burn is also in Orlando and Hollywood. And they do it in Hollywood too, where a lot of times they usually have like a recent movie that just came out, and then they'll have the house. That's almost like I guess it's like a promotion for the movie in some way.
It is. See, the difference is with the promotional houses, as I'm going to call them, is if the movie comes out maybe towards the middle of Halloween Horror Nights or after Halloween Horror Nights, they will include Easter eggs into the house, but there's a slim chance you might get a lot of black walls because they don't want to spoil the movie by putting scenes from the movie in the house. So there is that kind of issue. So a lot of times with franchise movies, they'll put the older movie like scenes in the house, and like I said, they'll maybe sprinkle some Easter eggs for the new movie, but not too much where it gives it away.
Gotcha. Makes sense. And Ricky here says Evil Dead Burn is a terrible movie. Ooh. It's not a movie I'm going to go see. So I would be a really bad judge on horror movies because I just think I don't like any of them. So for me, that's how it would be. What's up? Roger here says, Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you.
Happy Friday.
And so, yeah, we have that one. Then Ozzy Osbourne, Prince of Darkness. Now, I think this is the one I'm looking the most forward to. I think this one could be really, really cool. And there are some unique differences between the two. I'm very curious as to which one will be better. You know, with different stuff going on with Ozzy. So this one I think is going to be very, very popular. But this one, kind of interesting description here, says, obviously from, you know, heavy metal band and Ozzy Osbourne. It says, now you'll enter the Prince of Darkness's kingdom where music and mayhem collide. So everything's gone off the rails, veer through a decaying world ripped straight from Ozzy's lyrics in this haunted house inspired by one of rock and roll's greatest legends. And obviously, unfortunately, Ozzy passed away. Was it last year or earlier this year? I can't remember, but obviously very recently he passed away.
Yeah, very recent.
And I know the family, you know, obviously they're involved with this. They've given the okay on this. So, and they did this in Orlando last year too with the wrestling haunted house. It was based on a wrestler that had passed away. So they've done houses like this before. And I kind of like these off the beaten path houses. Like
I do.
Kind of something different, like music or wrestling. Like I do kind of like that.
And actually tonight, since your guys' HHN is kicking off tonight, there was a statement that I think the mom or the wife and the son are going to be at your guys' event tonight. I don't know if they're going to be at our event on September 3rd or someone representing the family is going to be there, but I did remember seeing a post that two of the family members are going to be at HHN in your neck of the woods tonight.
Oh, that's cool. The Sharon and Jack, if I remember correctly. But, I was telling my wife, I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna have, you know, which I didn't watch a lot of it back when Ozzy had the reality show, like, Sharon, like just Ozzy mumbling. You're like, what is he saying? That would be kind of funny.
And it's actually quite interesting because I captured a photo for Hollywood because I was around our RIP tour dinner area, and they were wheeling around kind of like a throne looking chair, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it was coming out of the RIP tour dining location. I'm like, could we be getting a exclusive Ozzy Osbourne character meet and greet for the RIP tour? I'm like, yeah,
Or
this
at
is
the very least, you can set in the like whatever throne they're gonna have or something. That'd
oh,
be kind of
dude,
cool.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I know we a lot of our creators out here, Mondo, JP Land, and several other big content creators were out here and filmed lights on tours of the houses. And I think Mondo did the Ozzy Osbourne house. I did not watch it. I do
Yeah.
not want to watch any spoilers like that. It's not to discredit their videos.
No, you just want to see it for yourself.
I want to see it for myself with the whole full action, everything. I want to see it.
Yeah, we did the Behind the Screams tour like 2 years ago. And if you're into Halloween Horror Nights, that's a great tour because they give you like a real perspective of how much work they put into these houses. And it's almost like a movie set, and you kind of see behind the scenes stuff. But it didn't ruin it for me seeing it first. But the houses they showed weren't ones that I was really looking forward to. But they do, like they were telling us during that tour, like right now, they're working on the houses for next year's Halloween Horror Nights already. So this is like a 16-month process of ahead of time. So it's a lot of work, and they put a lot. I mean, even like the little details that people will never notice, they put that into these houses, and I definitely appreciate the attention to detail that they do on these things.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm the same way. I saw Walp Car, or what's his name? Something Walrus. I can't remember. He's got a weird name, but he does a lot of live streams from the parks, and he was talking about. He walked through the Ozzy house. He didn't show any pictures, but he was like, "Dude, this thing looks crazy." Like it was just, it looks really cool from what we've seen from it. But I'm the same way. I've tried to stay away from kind of spoilers on some of that stuff. But now where it starts getting a little different here is you guys have a Killer Clowns from Outer Space haunted house.
Yeah, that one. It's starting to become like Michael Myers and Walking Dead. It's such a repetitive house we've had for the last 8 years, multiple times. I'm kind of ready to see this go away and give us something either new or give us a repetitive house that they haven't brought back and only brought back once. And there's quite a few they could do. So obviously I'm going to check out Killer Clowns no matter what. It's just out of all the houses, that's going to be the least priority for me to check out.
Yeah, I listen. I'm gonna be the same way. Like I'm not scared of clowns. I'm just kind of done with clowns. Like you know what I mean? Like that whole thing's been done so many times now. It's like not even edgy. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, another killer clown. Okay, we get it. But
Hey, I like Orange Grove's comment. Clown Maze Chapek in there. Chapek probably is in there.
in scary scene, he's just like, I'm sorry, I wasn't the ally you needed me to be. You're like, oh my gosh, it's the scariest house I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, this one is if there's ever a reason to be afraid of clowns, this is it. The Killer Clowns from Outer Space have landed in this haunted house, and the joke's on you if you get trapped in their cotton candy cocoons, becoming a gooey, gruesome snack. Okay. All right. There we go. And so one thing, if you're unfamiliar with HHN, I know there's probably going to be mixed people that gone a lot and who haven't been before. Maybe there's a mix. 5 IP houses, 5 like original concept houses. These are just things that Universal Creative comes up with. A lot of times, these houses end up being my favorite because I just think they're able to do kind of just they can just kind of go wherever they want to go. And I think sometimes these can be really good, and sometimes they can be not great. It just kind of depends. But this one here is Dead, Deader, Deadest. It says Ambro Tox claims to restore the deceased features without the process of embalming. But when the miracle drug backfires, a century's worth of corpses rise from their graves, dead set on terrorizing the living in this haunted house, stare death in its decaying face, and unearth the dark secrets that lie within the DeVille family funeral home. That one seems kind of creepy.
Yeah, it looks creepy. It's actually located on our lower lot, but behind the extended queue for Jurassic World, and it looks like a what was it? Kind of like a mausoleum type medical examiner building. That's how I'm
Oh,
kind of
okay.
look at it. But to your earlier statement about this, I kind of do like the original IP houses because, like you said, Universal Creative can really go in all sorts of directions and really not be tied down by a movie franchise. Because a lot of times with the movie franchise, you know, our creative director John Murdy, he has to make negotiations with these production companies, with these movie companies to not only use the IP but use the props, and they have to do a lot of discussion on where Murdy wants to take it to, tell the story inside the house. This is kind of like the locks are off the chain. You could do
Yeah.
anything and get away with it. You know what I
And I
mean?
can imagine there's going to be, they're going to want certain things and not have some things. So like the house that you get, even though it's going to get a lot of attention, it may not be everything they wanted to do. Versus these, they can kind of go wherever, do whatever they want. And some of them are kind of like there was a scare zone. I think it was last year that was like 1920s mobsters that got into like green ooze, and you're just like, this is it. I liked it, but it was just weird. You're just like, this is such a strange thing. But I appreciate, like, and you can kind of get into the campiness of what sometimes the horror genre is a little bit more too. So I think it'd be kind of fun. But you also have Kill Senior, or how do I say this? Kill Seniora.
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm from Missouri. Don't expect too much of me pronouncing different language words. It says music by Slash. It says in this haunted house featuring music by Slash, you're invited to Lola's Queen. Why? Okay, can you say the word? How? I need to hear you say it. Maybe I can say it.
I struggled to smack
Is it
you.
Quinceanera? It's Quinceanera, right?
Quinceanera, yeah.
Okay. I was trying to think of Quinn, and I was like, that's not right. Quinceanera. See, I figured it out eventually. Where she summoned vengeful ghosts and malevolent spirits to help exact her monstrous revenge on school bullies. Face legendary creatures from Latin American folklore as they help Lola snuff out her birthday candles one by one. Dang.
So I'm going to tell you about this house because in this location, it's on the upper lot next to the Universal Plaza where they usually have all these like Hispanic, bars and just a hangout spot. You have Roman characters around. You have sometimes they've had music like a DJ in there. But this location where this house sits has been a Latin American IP for the last, I would say, 10 years.
Oh, okay. There's
Yeah.
just an ongoing theme with it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we have anything like that at ours that I'm aware of.
This one I'm excited for.
People love Art the Clown. I know that much. I saw a clip from one of the movies, and one time, and I was like, nope, no thanks, not for me. But this is Terror Tram starring Art the Clown. So obviously, one of the things you guys have out there is the tram tour, which is a big part of the Universal Hollywood experience. I know OG's, that's one of his favorite things. I know Wizards talk about it. You've talked about that. But they do a Terror Tram, and this one is going to have Art the Clown. And it says, Art the Clown arrives on the Universal Studios backlot with his blood-soaked bag of presents in tow. But when he realizes he's too early for Christmas, he hijacks the Terror Tram to start a horrific holiday tradition all his own, encounter shocking twists on Christmas classics, and remember, the best gift is the screams you have along the way. So this one will probably be pretty popular, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very popular, being that last year both coasts had Art the Clown, not just as a house, but as a roaming character. And I think you guys had some issues with your Art the Clown roaming around. People were chasing him down.
Yeah, it kind of tends to happen in Orlando, both like Disney World and Universal. Yeah, there was a little bit of, I guess you could just say some of the creators out there were just really wanting their shot and just kind of messing it up. And
of course.
Yeah, it's always a good thing there.
No, but out here in Hollywood, him roaming around the upper lot and even the lower lot was like, oh my God, it was a dream come true. Because I actually have a TikTok video of him in the gift shop, and there's all these people like surrounding him, and he's pointing out like his merch, and then he's pointing out a different IP's merch, and he's all like boo and getting the crowd involved. It was great. I thought it was awesome.
Well, I know. I think he will have a presence at ours too. We don't have a tram tour, but he will be at ours too. But yeah, I mean, I know last year when he showed up, everyone was super excited because there was rumors of him showing up the year before, and then he finally showed up last year. So that is that all the houses you guys have? Wait, do you guys not have the same amount of houses we do?
No, we actually, I
Oh.
think we have 1 or 2 less than
Yeah,
you.
you have 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you guys have 8 houses.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is one thing I was wrong on. Okay, they don't have 10, they have 8. So that yet again,
I
I'm
wish
learning
we had
about
10,
really good now.
oh,
You
well.
guys probably just don't have the space for it, to be my guess.
Well, see, we used to utilize, the back lot, the Metro sets, but since COVID, they're still catching up on production, and you know how it goes in California, all the red tape and all that. So
Oh, yeah.
when they have to play catch up, it actually means 5 to 10 years, and
I was gonna say about a decade from now, it'll be like, it's just how it was before COVID at this point. But
exactly. I'll
uh
have gray hair.
yeah. Oh, good old red tape. Well, there's also entertainment. There's other things than just the haunted houses. There's entertainment, there's scare zones. So you guys have The Purge, Dangerous Waters. Now I'm gonna take a guess. This is from your stunt show that gets an overlay on it. Okay. The Purge, Dangerous Waters returns to Universal Studios Hollywood. It says fiery stunt spectacular puts you in a lawless, chaotic world, bringing the unpredictable terror of the Purge to life. Now, this would be pretty awesome. A stunt show for like an overlay with this, I think would be pretty cool.
So I'm going to be honest with you. We've had it the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
It was great. Don't get me wrong. I think people are ready for a change. So I'm actually surprised they brought it back. I'm glad we at least have a show, but it's again one of those things that's repetitive.
Yeah.
But it is an awesome show. I'm not gonna lie.
I get it though. Like if you had the same show you just want something a little different. But
Yeah.
I can see that. Then you got the scare zones. Now these are similar to what were you saying?
No. I was saying this one. I'm very
Oh, dude, I'm the most excited for this one I've been in for any scare zone. So, scare zones are similar to haunted houses in that these are just areas of the park that have scare actors and props and things set up, and it's kind of they're going to scare you here and there, but you can walk through at your leisure here. But they have haunted areas of the park essentially. So this one, the one here that both Hollywood and Orlando, which is really interesting on many levels, one of which being obviously Disney has their relationship with Epic Games, who makes Fortnite. They've talked about a ton about bringing Fortnite into their theme parks, but the first real big Fortnite presence in a theme park setting is actually with Universal with Fortnitemares. And it says here that drop into the chaos of Fortnitemares in this scare zone, watch out for fearsome foes as the storm spreads, unleashing a terrifying new world full of unsettling surprises. So obviously this is from Fortnite.
Yeah.
This, from what I have seen on both coasts, both of these scare zones look awesome. They got the battle bus in there, you got the characters, and this is going to be one where, myself included, people are going to want all sorts of pictures in here because you got elements from Fortnite, which is still a very popular game after even 10 years of Fortnite now.
Well, see, this is where I make the interesting connection here, because when you look at something like this and it's Halloween-esque, I find it funny that the company that made Fortnite is working both with Universal and Disney. Don't you find that very, very interesting?
It is, and I suppose, Disney is they're a part owner of Epic Games, but obviously I don't think they have any sort of creative control over them. And so this could have been something they already had in the works, or it could just simply be it's easy. Licensing is easy money. So if you're Epic Games, and I'm sure however much money that Universal pays for the IP rights of this stuff, it's free money to them, and they get to get more presence for Fortnite. So for them, it's probably a no-brainer as to why they do it. But it is interesting given that little wrinkle, because I do think we see Fortnite coming to the Disney park soon. Not going to be based off Fortnitemares, I don't think. But no, I think this one will be really cool. They actually have some pretty cool shirts. To be quite honest, I'm not a huge fan of Universal's shirts a lot of times. Some of the designs are just kind of okay. But the Fortnite ones they have do look pretty cool. So
They're pretty
I may grab some of those. Then you guys have El Circo de la Muerte. Says the traveling circus is host to all sorts of atrocious acts, from the mind-bending to the monstrous. Come see for yourself, and you'll leave forever changed. So that is if you leave it all. Ooh.
So actually, I want to say this scare zone is actually when you exit that quinceanera house, that kill quinceanera house. You as you exit, you walk right into a scare zone. I think this is going to be that scare zone, which also is right next to the RIP tour dinner experience.
Okay.
So
That's kind
that's
of cool. They're like, yeah, that's kind of interesting to have like you go right out into a scare zone. That's kind of cool.
yeah.
Then they have hackers with a Z. It says you can spot them from a mile away, and yet you still don't stand a chance. Try not to get hacked to bits by a band of chainsaw swinging freaks. I mean, that's just good advice in life, really. Just try not to get taken by chainsaw swinging freaks, really.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, you just got to watch your back out there a little bit. Then you got Blood Bog. Deep in the murky swampland lies a mysterious bog. It's dark, it's damp, and it's a hotbed for beastly creatures that will make your blood run cold.
Ooh, that's interesting. I could see that guy as still walker.
Yeah, they do like their stilt walkers.
Yeah.
We had a running joke about anytime there was a special celebration, at least in Orlando, it was like for 4th of July, it was like blah, 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 blah. And stilt walkers. Like, I feel like they just have like a bunch of stilt walkers around. They're just like, we got to throw them into everything. Put them in here. Like, you always see stilt walkers. But it's such a strange thing because I don't recall ever, like, the last time I saw a stilt walker outside of Universal Park. I don't even know when that would have been. But they include them. They're in there. Then you have Shriek of the Banshee. And it says, follow your curiosity through the fog and stumble upon this sideshow featuring the strange, the unnatural, and the deadly. And don't miss the main event, a demonic banshee that escaped its confines. Okay.
Interesting. I think that one might be. I want to say that's going to be somewhere in front of maybe the Shrek Theater or the DreamWorks Theater. That's probably where that's going to be at, I think.
I feel like looking at this list, you guys have more scare zones than we do.
So which is actually shocking.
Yeah, because I'm guessing we have more houses but less scare zones, and this is the opposite for you guys, which is kind of interesting.
Well, I think last year we had less scare zones because we had construction walls up still for the coaster. But now that's down, it frees up more room. So
gotcha. That makes sense. Then you got Murder of Crows, another Z. Got to end it right. It says, you foolishly ventured into a massive crow's nest. Now the flock will defend its territory by descending upon you in a feathered rage and pecking your bones clean. I'm not going to lie. I don't trust birds. This one's kind of scary to me. Just the thought of birds like delving down. Like that always is like, yeah, if birds start attacking us, I'm like, that is like the stuff of nightmares.
They're pretty cool though. Like, I mean, like we've had this scare zone the last couple of years. This one I'm okay about returning.
Oh, I mean, you've had this one before.
Oh yeah, these guys are awesome. Okay. But one fun fact though is because depending on where they put them, because in years past they put them in front of the construction walls for the coaster, and it's such a small area. It's kind of like an intersect little plaza area where you can go like 3 or 4 different directions. People were getting a little too close, and you know, these scare actors that are on the stilts, they have to keep moving. They can't stay typically in one spot for very long. Yeah, I saw one of them fall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was not good.
Ooh, that's not good at all. I mean, you're a good, like, I would say you're probably a pretty good, at least like 8 feet off the ground, I would say, in a lot of those still walk.
Easily.
That's not good.
Jeez.
No. That's a hard fall there. But so that is the lineup for Hollywood. So, I mean, looking at everything you guys got going on, how do you think this year's, obviously I haven't gone yet, but how it's looking thus far? How do you think this stacks up between, previous years and which one are you kind of the most looking forward to out of this?
So I'm going to tell you straight off the bat. So our entryway, once we get into the park, we actually have the trust system, which we've actually incorporated in our Halloween Horror Nights the last 2 or 3 years. But this year is specifically special because we're actually kind of stealing your guys' idea a little bit. And we have the Halloween Horror Nights, marquee sign that's gonna
Right.
light up, and people are freaking out. Like there were already social media posts that people were filming through the gates, the front entry gates, because it's a straight shot. You could see it. And they were testing the lighting package for that, and
Okay.
people capturing the letters lining up and everything, the flame towers going off. So that I'm super excited about to capture that. Usually in that area, we'll have the opening ceremony, which I'm guessing you guys have the same thing in your little
Yes.
trust. Okay, that I'm super excited about. The second thing I would say for the houses, I think personally for me, the Ozzy Osbourne house, number one.
Yeah.
That has to be number one. I think number two for me actually is probably going to be Hellraiser, being that John Murdy, our creative director, has been trying for years to get that IP as a house, and he finally accomplished that. And
And I
knowing,
have heard a lot of people say that house, and I know there's some early previews. I was trying to stay away, but I heard a lot of people saying, at least Orlando's version, that house was like one of the best that they've ever seen.
oh, I believe it, because we a lot of us actually saw the media preview, because usually we'll have a media preview with the big content creators, and they'll have it in the RIP tour dining location. They'll have a scare actor from one of the houses, and it just happened to be Hellraiser himself. And the actor, dude, I'm telling you, the way he looked, you walk around a dark corner in that house and you see him come right at you. It's pretty terrifying, man. They
What I
did
have heard
really
that
good.
one, I think they're utilizing at least Orlando's like mirrors, because it said it seems a
Yeah.
lot bigger in there, which is really interesting. Because I think the same concept you could do, and I think next year you could see this as like back rooms is something people have talked about coming to Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh
But the
yeah.
whole thing with back rooms is like, well, how would you really like, back rooms are more about like endless hallways and space. So if you're able to really utilize mirrors, I could see that maybe being something that you can use for, say, a back rooms or something else into the future,
No,
which would be kind of cool.
no, absolutely. I think the other thing kind of tied to the Ozzy house, though, we are going to have an Ozzy Osbourne bar. So I'm very
Yeah,
excited about that.
yeah, we are too. Yeah.
I want that. And I think, a lot of people aren't, particularly happy about our Terror Tram, because last couple of years it's been heavy, heavy Blumhouse. But being that Art the Clown's going to be on it, I'm super excited about that. So those are my three things I'm most excited about.
Okay. Now so how long, so do you guys have early scream where you guys can get into the park early?
So our version of that early scream, if it's like during the event, it's we just call it simply early entry. It's a separate ticket you have to buy that gets tied to your admission ticket.
Okay. So does that start at 2 o'clock also for you guys?
So actually, for us, so I think we walk in at like 4:35, because
Oh,
they
really?
close the
Okay.
park at 5 for the general admission, and the actual event doesn't kick off until 7. But with early entry guests, usually they'll have one to three houses available for entry for the early entry people.
Okay.
Um, Usually it's on the Curious George lot, which is kind of the back lot, or the lower lot, depending on how they figure it out. We do have a ticket, though, that you could purchase that you can enter at 2 p.m. and you get a wristband, just like with the early entry, you get a wristband, and it's the 2 p.m. after dark HHN ticket or something like that. Day
Okay.
and night combo ticket. So that's something you can do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And your guys, so does your guys as well run till 2 a.m.?
So actually, the first night, as far as I've seen in years past, because I've been going since 2016. Usually, because ours lands on a Thursday, it'll go to 1 p.m. And then I want to say Friday and Saturday they are the 2 a.m.s.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, little slight differences. The way I mean, obviously, different parks, different coasts, and things like that.
sure.
Is there anything else that you should be aware about Hollywood's version of Halloween Horror Nights or anything like that? Any details we missed?
So I'm going to be honest. I think personally for me, for someone that's new, I would try to get there early. Obviously, it's going to be different for all of us because we have a new security system
Mhm.
that is going to be a little bit better from years past. I think also, I would say for anybody going, just keep in mind you might not be able to do everything if you have a GA ticket or if you have maybe a one-time express. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to have that mindset of, hey, what houses am I going to make priority from? Because usually I tell people that I run into at the event that are first timers, and they say, "Oh yeah, we just waited 85 minutes for Art the Clown for Terrifier or something like that." And I say, well, the thing is, logistically, opening weekend, and I'm sure it's the same thing for Orlando. It's a nightmare. That
Yeah.
logistically, they're still trying to figure stuff out. Things go wrong. Uh, there's a lot of kind of confusion and whatnot. You just have to do your best to have patience and try to enjoy yourself because it gets chaotic, especially opening weekend for us. Probably the same with you guys. We do have a lot of celebrities that show up, so there's extra security. Um, so that plays host
You
and
guys probably
actually,
have more of that than we do, I would say, but in
yeah,
that way. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I will say one thing I've always said about Universal is their communication is not always the best. And I
no,
think that's definitely something they could work on. And you're right. And the first, like, they've done many Halloween Horror Night events here, but it's like the first few are still like, trying to figure it all out. So it's like if you are going to go there, it's like, pack a little bit of your patience on
yeah.
some of this stuff, probably.
So actually, XOXO asked about any food or drink specifically. I think I'm looking forward to the drinks and the food at the Ozzy bar. I gotta analyze it a little bit more. I do
Mhm.
know we have the Clown Cafe like little trailer food booth on the lower lot, so I probably will be trying that. But I'm really gonna kind of hone in on that Ozzy stuff. That Ozzy stuff is where I'm gonna be at.
Yeah, the Aussie stuff I think will be really popular, and food's a big part of HHN. I mean, it
Yeah.
has become a very big part. And here's a little bit. This is from Undercover Tourist, which I found has got some of the food items here, but obviously food items that are themed to the horror genre. So some of
Okay,
these
so
very good.
actually that right there. Okay, so you got Ruin Evil, Frosty Flight, Slight Nights. I don't know. All three of those sound pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that Frosty Fright when I heard that now seeing it as well, like blue curacao, lime juice, like a lot of the yeah, that's probably pretty good. A
Yeah.
lot and I will say at least now wait, do you guys have a dining oh, well, you have a dining pass too. Never mind. We get that too. Never mind. We have that as well.
Yeah. We
You get
have
a
a
dining card, which I would recommend if you're gonna go, especially if you're an AP. If you plan
oh,
on getting, a decent amount of food, it actually ends up saving you money. Plus, you still get your AP discount. And at least for Orlando, and probably the same for Hollywood, if you don't use it all that night, you can just use it again. It's just a food pass. So you can use it again at just a typical day at the park if you're going to go back. So you kind of typically get a free like 20 or 30 bucks for
yeah.
what you're paying for. Like I think ours for the pass holder, I have to look, but I think it's like $120 worth of food. I think you pay like $100 for it or $90 for it or something like that.
Yeah, I think ours is like $70, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, obviously, like that cold brew looks interesting.
that
Mistletoe
does.
Massacre. Okay.
Mm,
Art's Killer Cold Brew, bourbon, amaretto, cold brew coffee, vanilla syrup, sweet cream cold foam with a chocolate Art the Clown hat. That's probably
okay.
pretty good. I
You
love cold foam stuff. I'm a
yeah,
sucker for like cold brews and everything. So yeah, here's the
what's
what is
that?
this? This is let's see. Doesn't really say what it is. I'm gonna guess that
That's not fries.
is it fries?
No, no, no. I think it's what is that? Gut wound, a croissant with raspberry and chocolate.
Oh, that's what it
Looks
is.
like
Okay.
intestines. Interesting.
Some of that stuff gets a little like, especially they do like brain stuff. I'm like, I'm good. I don't really want to like it's like scrambled eggs. Like my brother used to put scrambled eggs and he put ketchup with it, and I was like, oh my gosh, just like how it would look. I was like, this just looks so gross. They do have a
Next.
massive one thing I think will be popular is this battle bus like They call it the Battle Bus dog. It's a
That looks pretty good.
22-inch tasty hot dog, all beef hot dog with Tostitos, nacho cheese sauce, coleslaw, sriracha aioli, banana peppers, and crushed hot Cheetos.
Interesting. And
That's
then
awesome.
you got the Slurp Juice,
Yeah.
non-alcoholic Mountain Berry Powerade, Sprite, pineapple juice, blue carousel syrup, and edible glitter. I might have to try that. I might have
It
to
seems
try
to
that.
me it's just what was it's Baja Blast. That's what it sounds like.
It sounds like a sugar bomb, but I'm
Well,
still gonna try it.
it's definitely gonna be a sugar bomb, undoubtedly. Now you guys do have some of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror stuff out there, which
Oh,
is
dude.
interesting.
Okay. So I'm glad you brought this up. This warrants a discussion right here.
Okay.
Okay, so being that we're losing the Simpsons IP in 2028, supposedly, unless they reach a new deal with Disney, I find it highly suspicious now all of a sudden they want to incorporate Treehouse of Horror into HHN, which all of us fans have been asking for years. And now all
Right.
of a sudden they want to do it. I I don't know if I'm too like crazy about the food items, but one thing I might be crazy about is that Ned Flanders devil donut. I might have to pick that up. I might have to do it.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting with The Simpsons because it's like one of those where I don't believe on both coasts that it's going to be long for this world, but it's like all of a sudden now it's like, hey, let's do like Treehouse of Horror to me would have been such an easy thing to do for years.
Oh, dude,
It's just a natural thing.
do you remember back in the day? I don't know if you remember, but Burger King. Remember they used to do the collab with the Treehouse of Horror stuff, and they had the little figures you can get.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty popular
I
down
mean,
here
The
in
Simpsons
California.
was really big for like when I was a kid, it was probably at its peak. It was always that thing I wasn't allowed to watch. My parents wouldn't let me watch like that, like Beavis and Butthead. I couldn't watch that. But it was like, oh, if I got to see it a little bit. But I've never been a huge Simpsons fan, but I do know the Treehouse of Horror is, even just objectively looking at that, it's like that would make a lot of sense to do like a parody in many ways of the Halloween season. But you also have from Stranger Things, you got looks like some Surfer Boy pizza, which of course they're going to have some. I know with ours, we're going to have like beef jerky that's from
Yeah.
for L from a lot of the stuff. It's off season 5 of Stranger Things and not necessarily the entire thing, but Surfer Boy Pizza is from I think season 4.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
I think if I remember correctly. It's been a little bit since I've watched it, but and then you got some Sinners food here, and there's a ton of stuff that and really like one thing and then oh actually this
Ooh.
right here, this Ozzy
I
cake,
want that.
the Prince of Darkness cake that does look pretty cool.
Yeah.
That does look awesome. And then you have a walking taco. Like one thing I'm looking forward to this year is being able to actually have more food doing Express Pass because in years past we might get a couple of things, but like we didn't want to use all our time that we could be doing the houses to just get food. So that's
Well,
so and one thing if you are going and you don't have Express Pass, like when you get food is kind of important, at least in Orlando I can speak to where it's like I would not get food early on in the event. I would wait until a little bit later into the event when maybe it's the busiest for the houses, and then that might be a good time to dip into some food. Because at least in Orlando, sometimes after midnight, because ours
oh,
goes till 2 a.m. A lot
sure.
of people leave after that, and then you have a pretty decent chance of kind of maybe hitting some houses kind of quicker than trying to do them at like I'd say the peak time probably starts like 8 or 9 o'clock, and then everything ends up being like 60+ minute waits for like all these
Well,
houses.
well, see, it's interesting because usually what me and Tommy Toon usually do is our second day, which is Friday, we usually because that's the early entry with general admission, we usually kind of try to focus on the houses a little bit at the
Mhm.
beginning, and then once it gets totally ridiculous, then we'll transition ourselves from focusing on the houses and then going to the foods.
Yeah. That's usually your best bet. The biggest mistake I'll see people make is like, I literally saw people right as the event starts and they just beeline for the food. And I was like, that is not the way. But maybe they're going multiple nights. Maybe that's what they wanted to do. But I was just like, that's
Sure.
not what I would do if you're trying to do all these houses. But just depends on what you want to get done there. But you got here. Let's see. You have there's one of the Aussie drinks, the
Ooh.
ultimate cinnamon. It says
Mhm.
here cinnamon fire whiskey, apple juice, spiced brown sugar, lemon juice, and beet powder with a cinnamon sugar rim and chocolate bat. That's probably pretty good.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, that does look cool.
I like that berry one back there. And then I'm telling you right now, as you scroll down just a little bit right there.
Mhm.
So the novelty Ozzy HHN Coca-Cola Freestyle Cup.
Oh.
You can't see it on my screen, but off screen here, I have like a row of them since 2016 or
Oh, nice.
2015. And I'm telling you right now, since it has Ozzy on there, that's gonna go quick. So if you're a
Oh, yeah.
collector, if you're a collector like I am with those cups, grab it the first night. I'm telling you
I
now.
don't yeah, I don't know if they have it at ours, I will get one as well, 'cause I
Oh yeah,
think it's cool. I don't know if I can't remember if they said they have one at ours or not. They probably are.
I'm sure.
Let's see anything else here that sticks out. Oh, here we go. Here's I think that's just a general oh, that's Voodoo Donuts there. So
Yeah.
there's also stuff going on in both city walks a little bit as well. So that's some of the food items. Is there anything food wise that maybe isn't in this article you're looking forward to?
So actually, not really. Like, I mean, I think the Aussie stuff is, like I said, really where I'm gonna be like anchored at because I have I love Ozzy for some of his older music, especially
Yeah.
Crazy Train.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you look at my YouTube name and then you associate with that, it's like perfect.
Yeah.
I have to pay homage. I have to. It
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. I think my favorite anything with Ozzy is War Pigs. That song's so good. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
just such a a song way before its time. But yeah.
yeah.
It's so funny to me. My dad was like a hard rock guy growing up. And I used to just roll my eyes. And now as I'm older now, I'm realizing I'm like, that actually was the best, like one of the best times for music was like the 80s and especially the rock stuff. It's so cool.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
awesome there. But all right, let's move over and talk about Hollywood. Or no, excuse me, Hollywood. Let's talk about Orlando, not Hollywood. We just talked about Hollywood. So obviously, very, very similar things here. I would say Orlando's is bigger than Hollywood's. It's a bigger destination. I can tell you, every year this just gets busier and busier with the amount of people that come to HHN, especially the past like 5 years. It's just become a very, very big deal. So we'll go through everything coming to Universal Orlando for Halloween Horror Nights. Now, this is HHN 35. So the 35th one out here. So some a little differences here. Ours starts as of today, August 28th through November 1st. They do have the premium Scream Night, which is already done there, but I think next year we are going to go do that because I think that'll be a lot of fun. Actually, no, what does it say here? August 27th and October 19th. Excuse me, they got two. So August 27th was yesterday, then they have another one on October 19th. Same thing here. Obviously, this is a paid ticketed event. One difference is with our early Scream stuff, which we're doing on top of the Express Pass, is we can the houses, I believe, we'll go through some like start at like 2 o'clock. So by the time the event starts, theoretically, we could have 5 houses done when the event officially starts, plus throw in Express Pass. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to do all the houses during the event, which is not something I've ever been able to do in one night before myself. My wife did years ago. She went with some friends and they were able to do all the houses without an Express Pass, but I think it was a very like it was just one of those nights it wasn't that busy, but I think you might still find some nights that way, but for the most part, it's difficult to go through all these houses without either early Scream access or having a Express Pass. But so the theme this year is Jack and Oddfellow, kind of the entire thing here. So the whole lineup is the what they said. Technically, it's the Carnival of Nightmares, I believe is what it is the whole theme for this event. But it revolves around Jack and Oddfellow. So this is kind of the headlining house here. It says every Scream has been leading to this. Discover the unsettling origins of Jack the Clown and Dr. Oddfellow undying rivalry before stepping through a portal into the wickedly twisted Oddverse. You'll be caught in the middle as these two icons of terror pit chaos against control and find that their forces of horror are most fearsome when combined. So that is I know. Listen, I'm not up on all the lore. I've only been going to HHN for like 5 years. I know Jack and Oddfellow are like both very popular original IP characters. So I know a lot of people have been going for a long time. Are really excited about this one. So I imagine it'll be good. I mean, it's an original IP type house.
Yeah.
We also have Sinners out here as well. And I forgot to mention this on the Hollywood one, but it's based in 1930s Mississippi. Libations flow freely and guitar screams fill the air at the Smokestack Twins Juke Joint. It's obviously based off of the movie here, of course. Stranger Things 5, obviously very similar to Hollywood's. It's now this one thing again. This is going to be season 5 alone. So I am curious with Stranger Things what scenes they might use, because I think there's a lot they have to choose from.
Well, absolutely. And from watching your coverage with Tones TV and Orange Grove 55 and so many others that kind of talked about how Stranger Things season 5 was kind of, being that it was the final season, it wasn't really what you guys were expecting.
Yeah, it didn't. Season 4 was fantastic.
Yeah.
Season 1, I will contend, is some of the best television you'll ever see. It is. If they would have stopped at season 1, it still would have been a great one-off type show. So season 4 kind of revitalized it. Yeah, season 5 was, it was okay. It was just sort of like there were so many things to try and wrap up, and I think some of the things they did too were a little bit clunky the way they did it, but and I think it does still have a lot of appeal. But there's a lot of, even with my issues with that season, there's a lot of really cool scenes and moments they could utilize for these houses.
Yeah.
One of them being, I imagine there was a scene. Did you watch it? Season 5
No.
by chance? Okay. So there's a scene where they have a Demigorgon and they're at the radio station and they shock it to kind of like bring it back to life to do something that they were doing with the plot. But that scene alone, I'm like, that would make a really cool part of a haunted house. Like you got this demigod being shocked at the radio station, and then there's, there's a couple of places they could definitely do that I think would be pretty cool. So I am curious what they'll do there. Then obviously we have Hellraiser as well, just a very, loving intro realm of pure pain, very similar there. But again, I have heard this house is fantastic. So I don't know anything about it. I'm it's one of those movies as a kid, I knew of the character. Never have seen any of the movies, but I think the artwork for this looks pretty awesome, though. Like,
I think
the vibe of it, like, I think it'll be pretty cool. And I hope it kind of has, knowing nothing about the franchise, I hope it has this kind of 80s vibe to it. I think that would be kind of cool, like this kind of retro vintage vibe into the house. I think could be a cool touch.
That'd be dope.
Obviously, Evil Dead Burn yet again. I'm not expecting much out of this house. I just, from, somebody saying in the comments too, this movie isn't very good. And typically these houses, sometimes these houses that are like kind of coinciding with a movie that's out, sometimes they can be good, but a lot of times they're just kind of like, okay. Like they're just, it's okay. Nothing great. Now the Hellraiser though, that one I think could be actually really good. Even though it's a movie I will not watch, I have a feeling that Haunted House could be good. And then like we said, Ozzy Osbourne, this is the one I think most people are excited about, myself included. I know ours has a Crazy Train, and so I am really curious in some of the scenes that they have set up in here. I think could be pretty awesome. Do we have the Crazy Train? Or do you guys have the Crazy Train?
I don't know. I couldn't even tell you because, like I said, I didn't watch any of the footage. I don't.
Yeah, I've been trying to do the same. That's the hard thing about this is like I don't want it to be spoiled. And if you look too much into this stuff, it starts getting spoiled. And you're like, okay. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have a Crazy Train in ours, which I think would be
which I would guess that's probably the situation, because a lot of your guys' houses that share the same IP that we do, usually yours is in a bigger footprint than ours. Usually, not always, but usually. So I would imagine you guys probably have it.
Yeah. And that's if you're going to do an Ozzy haunted house, you got to have a Crazy Train. I feel like that's just a given. So those are the I think that's all of the IP houses. And then we have some of the original IP houses that Universal Creative comes up with. One of us is HR Blood and Guts presents a Halloween Frightacular. It says, on a dark and stormy Halloween night, your favorite how do I say this? Maitre de Camp. I can't even say that. Macabre, whatever that is. Maitre D. I'll just put Maitre D. Returns to WKNB with a special scare-a-thon. Tune into a curated selection of H&R Blood and Guts Halloween favorites in this haunted house, complete with ghouls, gore, and all the frights that keep you coming back for more. So this is kind of a play on, they had a Slaughter Cinema a couple years ago, which is actually a pretty cool house. It was like going into like this haunted cinema, and the scenes played out in there. So I think this is kind of in that realm of that. Like, I think actually taking off specific things of it.
Well, see, it's interesting you mentioned that, because not Universal Hollywood, but Knott's Berry Farm, or should I say Knott's Scary Farm, has had a house the last couple of years called Cinema Slasher. And it was kind
Oh,
of something along the line similar, not exactly the same, but along the line. So I'm very
interesting.
curious about that.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I guess it's not the most original thing in the world having a cinema that's, slaughter. I mean, that's been done before. There has been somebody noted that it looked like Knott's Berry may have copied Universal on some of their shirts, which is kind of interesting. But at the same time, it's clowns, so it's like how clowns have been done many times before. But then we got Madlands Caged Cannibals. So it's in this haunted house. You're among survivors seeking refuge from a dystopian wasteland within a defunct zoo. But you'll quickly realize that while the animals may be long gone, they've been replaced by something far more primal, warring cannibal factions that have taken their animal instincts to the extreme.
Another funny joke. Last year at Not Scary Farm, they had something similar, a house. It was a zoo, and the animals were like zombified with like a nuclear power plant, and they had it was crazy. It wasn't like a typical house. Like they had, where you can walk through, and there's some lights, the house, not the house lights, but like the lights they use for the house. But
Right.
then they had a version later on in the night where you use this like puny little flashlight that can shine where crap, and the whole house was dark.
Ooh, that
And
would
that
be
was creepy. That
that would
was
be
creepy.
really creepy. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one feels like kind of like this. I don't know. This could be just like a major city in the U.S. So this house theme here. I don't know.
No, I could think of a couple.
Yeah, like a few come to mind. Maybe too close to home here on that one. Then we have Cybergoria, which is clearly, I think, coming a little bit off a T2 feel,
Yeah.
which I'm not mad about. It says humanity slipped off into machine-induced cryo sleep with the promise we'd awaken immortal. Instead, we found that our cybernetic caretakers had stripped away our flesh. Oh man, they're always so trusting, transforming us into something beyond human. Brave this haunted house in a cold world of machines driven by one goal: to make you live forever, even if it kills you.
Mm.
This one's either going to be like really good or just kind of lame. I don't really think there's going to be too much in between.
I'm kind of curious about this one, being that you mentioned about T2. So
Right.
we definitely got to do a follow-up live stream or a video on this because I want to get your thoughts. Since
Yeah, I'm curious about this. Yeah, if they have a guy in here that's just in a leather jacket, be like, "Come with me if you want to live." You'd be like, "Wait a minute, can you do this?" Yeah, just got an Austrian guy. As soon as I saw that house, I was like, "I like that T2 stuff, kind of funny." Now this one, okay, I'm excited for this one because this is right up my alley with this type of like theme. But I haven't heard it's the best house thus far. I don't know any details. I just know from people that have kind of like given little summaries of like it's a little disappointing, which is kind of sad. But from the idea of this, I like it, which is invasion, alien abduction. It says the Greys definitely didn't come in peace, but you will leave in pieces. Enter this haunted house in the middle of an alien abduction and scramble through the wreckage of a ravaged southwestern homestead, surviving viciously probing tentacles. That sounds terrifying. I don't want probing tentacles anywhere near me. And making contact with horrors from the dark and distant reaches of our galaxy. This one, I love like UFO type stuff. And so this one could be really cool. But again, what I've heard so far, I don't know if it will be, but I'm not going to be anything spoiled. We'll see. But I think the idea of this alone is a kind of a unique haunted house, kind of going the alien route there. So that's all the haunted houses. So again, we have 10 in Orlando and 5 IP, 5 non-IP houses. And then the scare zones. And this is the entire theme of the entire event, which is Infernal Carnival of Nightmares. I believe this is going to be right when you walk in. It's going to be the first thing you see.
Gotcha.
The entrance. Jack and Dr. Oddfellow proudly present the Infernal Carnival of Nightmares. Step right up and discover what horrors hide in every shadow at this sinister spectacle decades in the making. So that is the one there. Then we have Sideshow of Decay. So Cindy's time has come. With Dr. Oddfellow's dark sorcery, she opened a portal in the carnival's junkyard, using it to resurrect decayed nightmares from the past that are back to haunt you. I don't really
And
know what I think about this one. It's
it,
just it may just be a pretty typical. I mean, some of these scare zones are much more inventive than other ones. I think is pretty safe to say too.
this one, okay, I'm going to be honest with you. It kind of gives me the vibes of zombies mixed with bad dentistry.
Zombie dentistry. Yeah, it's not a bad point. Yeah. I mean, I like the artwork on this. I
Oh,
will say. Yeah, it's just I don't know. There's I think there was a map on one of these. I don't know exactly sure where this one is. I've not looked yet at the map to see where everything is at this point, but
sure.
maybe we'll look at the map here shortly. Then we also have Fortnitemares as well. Obviously, pretty similar to what's going on in Hollywood. So drop into the scare zone, crawling with fearsome foes and brace for the storm as it spreads. So does a terrifying new world where danger, chaos, and unsettling surprises lurk around every corner. So there's some differences. One thing, which I didn't know this. I mean, I play Fortnite tangentially, like with my kids and things like that from time to time. So the battle bus is always blue. And your guys' battle bus is blue out there, but ours is black and orange. And I was like, well, that's weird. Why is our black and orange? Well, apparently for Fortnitemares, it's always black and orange. So apparently ours is actually accurate to what Fortnitemares is, and your guys is more accurate to what the game is in general. But you do have the battle bus and the other stuff out there. And if you're talking about where all the teenagers will go, they're going to go to this scare zone. So I suppose if you're, if you want to stay away from the youths, you avoid it.
Hey, that's where the most security is going to be at.
Oh, 100%, 100%. All the issues in the park are going to be in the because I can imagine honestly. And one thing I will say, at least for ours in Orlando, there have been incidents in recent years where team members and scare actors like getting assaulted and people just acting unruly. I really, really hope that I've always wondered if they're going to institute some sort of rule because usually, not always, but usually it involves a lot of these younger kids. Their parents aren't there, just kind of causing problems. So I imagine this could be a hotbed for that, but hopefully Universal is ready for it.
So you're talking about a chaperone policy.
I've wondered if they would. I mean, not that I'm necessarily advocating for it, but you've seen other destinations do this. I think SeaWorld does it, I think.
SeaWorld and Not Scary Farm actually does it.
Yeah. I mean, I think with a Halloween event, I can understand the reasons as to why you would. Because I think something like this it lends itself. Obviously, this is not a family friendly type of theme park event. So haunted houses and scary stuff already lends itself to people drinking a bit to try and loosen up, get a little courage before you go into these houses. And it's kind of it's a party atmosphere in many ways as Halloween Horror Nights. So you already have that part of it that can lend to people misbehaving in the park. Then you throw in teenagers trying to impress girls and all this. You can do the math here and see really quickly where this could all be a bad mix for bad theme park behavior. So I'm hoping that that does not happen. But yeah, we'll see on that one. And JJ here says R.I.P. Peter Cullen. Yeah, that one hit me kind of hard.
Yeah, that was rough. Like, I mean, we had Dolly Parton, then him, and when there's someone else, it was like in threes.
Well, you had Hayden Panettiere was a week before that, and then you had Tim Curry as well.
Oh, there you go. So four all together. Like, I mean, damn.
Yeah. And if you don't know, somebody asked who is that? Peter Cullen was the voice of Optimus Prime. He was also the voice of Eeyore. He also did the sound effects for Predator. That thing that came from him. But probably, I mean, easily top 3 voice ever. I mean, you talk about like the voice of Mount Rushmore. I mean, his voice was just, gosh, so cool.
It was legendary.
And I love Optimus like on his own, but his voice with it was just, it made it so much. Like every time I write Transformers, like I don't know, like writing it this, I will write it here pretty soon again. And just hearing that after knowing he passed away it's gonna be a little hard there because I'm always down to help Optimus save the world. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was unfortunate. And then we also have Downtown Clown Town. It's always a good time, featuring Art the Clown and killer clowns from outer space. It says the city that never sleeps becomes a waking nightmare when its boroughs are overrun by killer clowns from outer space. Art the Clown and other murderous clownsfolk who can't wait to tear you limb from limb. Don't be fooled by the locals. Survival is no laughing matter. I always love murderous townsfolk. You know what I mean? Clownsfolk.
Oh yeah. I love running into those people,
Yeah.
especially in the dark. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, of
Always
course.
good. Always good. I'm pretty sure I've run into a few from time to time, but so those are our scare zones: Clown Town, Fortnitemares, Sideshow of Decay, and Infernal Carnival of Nightmares. I think out of those, I'm the most looking forward to Fortnite on
Yeah,
that one. Just for I think most people are. We'll see what the other ones do, but I think that's the one that I'm looking the most forward to. So you guys have your stunt show out there. We have a just a show that they do in here in the Fear Factor building that is abandoned, you know,
ass.
most of the year. They just use it for this. Essentially, that building is only used for Halloween Horror Nights at this point. They haven't done anything else with it since COVID.
I
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I tried to analyze that when I was out there. I looked at that building because it sits right next to Men in Black. I'm like, yeah, get rid of this thing. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, there
it
was that, there was other ones. I'm like, what the hell is going on here, man?
yeah, they don't use anything for it at all. It's kind of crazy. And yeah, Mandoc said, please tell me that was not the main voice actor for him. It was. He was 85. What I didn't know this, talking about Peter Cullen.
Yeah,
Um, he was somebody said they were at a con not that long ago, and he had to be rushed to the hospital because he's having some health issues.
I heard
And
that.
so I'm not really sure what health issues he was having, but he was, you know, I think for people in the know, it didn't come as a huge surprise, but from everybody else looking on, like I didn't know he was sick or anything
Well,
like that.
it's interesting you say that because same thing happened with Dolly Parton. She was
Yeah.
about to go on stage at a concert and she had to be rushed to the hospital.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. Well, I know Tim Curry had he had a stroke a couple years ago,
he
if I
did.
remember
He
correctly. And
looked
then
rough.
yeah, it's sad, man. Sad to see your icons start passing away. It's really sad, but yeah, Blood Noir here. This one is it's always an interesting show on this. Is embark on a dark musical journey and resist temptation as death-defying stunts lure you deeper into a vampire-ridden metropolis. So this is I've actually never seen the stage show here because I'm always doing the houses because again I've never had Express Pass. My wife has seen the show, not this version of it, other one that her description was very sensual show like, in terms of like very like not for kids at all, like a very almost like a lot of sex appeal as part of the show. I know they're gonna have like a sword swallower as part of this because one of the main guys that one of the best I guess in the world is going to be at doing this show. So I don't know exactly what to expect from it, but there is no express pass for this. So if you do want to do this, if you're RIP tour, they get in there whenever they want, but everybody else, you got to line up, which is one reason why I haven't done it because I just didn't want to take all that time out from doing the houses to do the show. But
Sure.
this year we are going to do that, or at least try to this year. So they have that. We also have another show, which is Stranger Things Return to Hawkins.
Really?
The music, the monsters, the memories in this show relive 5 epic seasons of Stranger Things through a special WSQK broadcast as some of its most unforgettable moments are projected on the Universal Studios Lagoon. So this is, you know, the Sensational show that they do. This is basically just taking place in place of Sensational. So it's just gonna, I
Cool.
think it's gonna be the same thing of like a water overlay. It's just gonna be Stranger Things, but
Pretty cool.
one thing they are doing, at least at ours, that I think is kind of interesting is they're also including some character meet and greets more.
Hmm.
And I kind of get this idea that, and one of the questions I've had is like at some point, I do think they add more haunted houses here that go to 12 because of the demand of these houses, but also they're kind of having more things that maybe pull you away from these haunted houses. So I think like some of these meet and greets they could be doing. And there are some that are going to be like for RIP only and stuff like that. So I think this could eventually kind of become like what Disney World does with Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, because that party doesn't change. But one thing they do is there's so much stuff to do that
Sure.
you can't do everything. So it kind of pulls you around and kind of typically the idea there is like what you do want to do, there's not an insane crowd to do it. I kind of wonder if they take this approach in the coming years of having more like, you know, meet and greets, you know, more shows and stuff to kind of try and pull some of that away from the haunted houses. Another thing they also have, not technically part of Halloween Horror Nights, it happens alongside it, technically speaking, is they have the Death Eaters in Diagon Alley. Now
Which we're getting ours back this year.
oh, you are? Okay. Which they
Yep.
don't do a lot. I mean, they have kind of eerie green lighting in there. The Death Eaters show up and they walk around. They don't say anything, but it's just it's a cool little spooky thing they do. Personally speaking, if you've seen it before, I don't think it's worth like doing every single year. But if you're a Harry Potter fan, obviously it's something to check out. But that technically, I think that's how they got J.K. Rowling's to approve it. It's not part of HHN, but it just happens to coincide with the event in Diagon Alley, technically speaking.
Definitely
go around that. But so those are all the houses and the scare zones and the shows. I mean, for me, I'm very similar to you. Ozzy is like my number one I'm looking forward to. I think that one is like undoubtedly the one that I hope it's great. It seems really cool. From what I have heard, I think Hellraiser may be one of the best ones we've seen in a while. That's what a lot of people are saying. So I'm kind of starting to think that this one could be pretty cool, even though it's a movie I will never see, nor do I have any desire to see it. But I think that one be pretty cool. Stranger Things, I'm curious about more. I'm not as really excited. I'm curious about it. I hope it's really good. I just don't know which direction it'll go with the house. So in my head, I'm like, it could either be really good or it's going to be terrible. That's kind of my thinking.
Definitely. And actually, Orange Go 55 has a question. He says, curious your guys' thoughts on Disney utilizing its secondary parks to do scary Halloween events, not HHN level, but just a couple notches scarier than the castle parks. What's your thought?
Disney World, I don't foresee them doing it. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party sells out every single year, even at like double the price it used to be.
That's crazy.
I just don't know if they would. They could in the coming years. Maybe at like Hollywood Studios would be the one I would think of where they would do that, because they do that with Christmas now. You've got the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, but also Jollywood Nights.
Yeah.
I wouldn't assume that they would. I think they kind of, I've talked to people inside of Disney that basically say, Universal kind of dominates Halloween because of HHN. I just don't get the impression that Disney wants anything to even do with getting close to that. Because I think it would just be like, if you had the kiddie family-friendly version of Halloween, that's a good selling point. Universal has the scary one. Sometimes when you're in the middle, that's kind of where things go to die. You got to kind of like pick a lane sort of thing. Now, maybe when Villains Land comes along, maybe I could see maybe something doing a Villains Land in there a little bit. But until then, I just don't know.
Well, see, for us, and I've talked to OG about this, I kind of wish they would move Oogie Boogie out of DCA, put it in Disneyland, because you got the Oogie Boogie animatronic and the Haunted Mansion overlay for that. So I kind of wish they would move all that stuff over there. And then for DCA, it's kind of like that more edgier type Halloween event. You have like zombie Captain America walking around. You have Moonlight walking around. You have some of the more evil or Disney villains that we don't really see like in the public view hardly at all. Like the old school Disney villains, you might have one or two walk through, mazes you walk through. Some DJs with some very elegant World of Color type Halloween-esque show. You have, some themed cocktails, some scare zones. I think that'd be great. But like you said, Disney is not really dabbling in that, which is kind of like a miss for them for the Halloween event. Because, yeah, Oogie Boogie sells out. But the problem is it's the same every year. Hardly anything changes. They don't add anything, and the price just keeps getting added higher and higher and higher. It's like it's not worth it. But I want to ask you this, since OG brought this question up, going back to Orlando, because one thing I noticed with the Studios Park in Iowa, it's connected by the Hogwarts Express.
Right.
My question is, if the event gets bigger, could they expand Halloween Horror Nights into Iowa and being like on the actual train? I think it'd be pretty cool if you have some like Dementor characters flown around the train. That'd be pretty cool, and they could implement stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, your biggest hurdle would be J.K. Rowling's and
Oh,
what
of
she would allow
course,
and not allow.
of course.
They've done like now people in the chat may know, and I don't know all time for Halloween Horror Nights. I know recently they don't do a whole lot. I know with Mardi Gras, they did at one point have some food booths in City Walk and also some in Islands of Adventure as a kind of like, I guess, trying to get people to come over to it. They
Sure.
didn't do it after the one year they tried it. I guess it's possible, but I guess you would probably look at, do you want to utilize, you'd have to shut down 2 parks, and that's a lot of logistics to do that. I
Yeah,
would imagine they would just expand what they would offer on the studio side, and just leave it in there, if I were to guess. Now,
sure.
I could be wrong. I just would imagine it's bad. It's hard enough getting everyone out of a park for one party if you're trying to do that. And then where would people go that aren't going to go to Halloween Horror Nights? So I think probably they wouldn't do it. But you could have, I guess, you could have a little elements in there of like, I guess, more teases of it, maybe.
Well, see, I was actually thinking, and obviously this is years down the road, but I was actually thinking the back half of the park. So like where Jurassic Park, Jurassic World's at, maybe
Dude,
when
zombie dinosaurs would be awesome. Would you
dude,
call
we
that?
okay. Actually, it's funny because my friend Mondo from Five Fires has been talking about this. He's talked about in years past doing a Jurassic Park Velociraptor, you know, HHN house, which would be totally bloody and gory and just
Dude,
awesome.
that would be intense.
Dude,
I
that
think that
would
would
be
be
awesome.
cool.
That'd
Yeah.
be awesome. So in IOA, you would shut down Jurassic World, you would shut down maybe um Harry Potter, and maybe if they could figure it out, if Pokemon decides to go in that that area that's under construction, those three major areas you could probably use for HHN. I know that's half the park, but I think
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool.
It would be cool. I don't foresee them doing it, but it would be
Sure.
cool. Stuff you could do. Uh, Alexander here was saying, "What's JK's beef with HHN?" It's not really beef with HHN. She's very controlling. Like she has final say over everything to do with Harry Potter in the parks. So like, I believe it's still the case. If you want to rent out, which you can do, you can rent out lands in a theme park. I think to this day, if you want to rent out one of the Wizarding World lands, that she actually has to give the okay for it. Like it's that to that level. So that's
So,
why I think, which I mean, I get you get all these brands. Nintendo's going to be the same way, by the way. Nintendo probably won't do anything with HHN because
no,
they're trying to maintain their brands and their universes, and so they don't necessarily want Harry Potter associated with horror genre. And I'm sure Nintendo's the same thing. Obviously, they're a very family friendly gaming studio or manufacturer. So it's just more or less like brand protection. I think I don't think she has an issue with HHN on its own. It's just with the brand, I think.
see, I never understood that though, Jared, because if you honestly think about it, like I mean, like the back half of the Harry Potter franchise, all those older like in the series movies from I would say from Goblet of Fire on, those were all like kind of dark and evil and
Oh, they
kind
were, yeah. That
of
was
the
like
haunted
very, yeah,
vibe. So I'm
yeah.
like, I don't understand why she won't relent, but yet she'll allow like Death Eaters. Because I even said with the Death Eaters walking around, how cool would it be if you had a Voldemort walk around character just rounding up his Death Eaters and just walking around in this little. I think that'd be dope as hell.
It would be cool. And there's nothing. I mean, maybe in the future they could work something out. I'm guessing the main issue would just simply be you're interacting with Harry Potter characters, and
That's
then
true.
it's like you turn on the corner and it's like Art the Clown. You know what I mean? I could see like if I was controlling an IP I created, like I probably as well would be, excuse me, more controlling about where it came up and all that stuff.
Sure.
That's probably more or less what it is. But I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I think you could do a Death Eaters Voldemort type house. It would
That
just be if they ever did it, I imagine it would have to be like in the Wizarding World and probably meet certain stipulations. But I mean, listen, if you throw enough money at something, you can probably get most things done. So maybe it's a money thing, or maybe they went to her about this and she wanted so much money for it. They're like, okay, how about just Death Eaters? And they're like, okay, we can do that. Maybe what it was, but
See, there are sometimes I wish he was like James Cameron to say, you know what, I've had enough. I'll collect the royalties, but you guys do whatever the hell you want.
And she's kind of doing that now with the show, as far as I know. I don't think she's really involved with that HBO show. I think it's mostly just she signed off on it, and they're just kind of doing what they want to do with it, is from what I know. So
Yeah, on some like that, I understand that, but I mean, like more for the theme park
oh
related.
yeah.
I wish he would just.
Well, and it's I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that continues to develop. But yeah, I mean, at least historically speaking, she's been very hands-on with how, and that was one of the reasons why it didn't go into the Disney parks, because she wanted to maintain that control,
Oh,
and Disney was not going to give her that control, whereas Universal was willing to do that. So that was another aspect of that. OG says a Planet of the Apes HHN maze with the apes ripping folks' limbs from. Oh, dude, that would be terrifying. But Disney probably would not sign off at being at Universal. Probably not, but yeah, rampaging like apes would be terrifying.
dope.
Because those things will rip your face off.
Oh yeah.
Same with like bears. People are like, oh, it's a bear. I'm like, that thing will kill you so fast, and it's faster than you are. That thing's like, you're like, oh, it's a big huggable bear. I'm like, no, no, no. That thing is a demon that will just haunt your life.
Oh my god.
Alexandria says, I do love Conductor's idea of Dementors on the Hogwarts Express. They just did this experience in California on a real train foot back to Hogwarts. Yeah, I agree. It would be awesome. And you might be able to get away with it on a train. You could, my guess, if they were able to do it, it would be some sort of like, it would be the same thing. It just coincides with Halloween Horror Nights, but it would not be listed as like part of the offerings of Halloween Horror Nights. But if you're looking to take demand off of some of these houses, I mean, something like that could be pretty cool.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And then Rudio says there's even a certain way and amount of butterbeer that employees have to pour. There's cameras watching their report. Yeah, it's like, and I think recently, for the longest time, you could not get butterbeer without the foam. It was like required you had to have the foam.
Oh yeah.
Where I think now you can get it without the foam, though I don't know why you would, because the foam I think makes it better. But yeah, it's a lot of control that they have over that IP that's in those parks, undoubtedly. But yeah, I would say the other house, again, I'm looking forward to Invasion Alien Abduction. I don't know how much I'll expect from it, but I love these, like, you know, a couple of years ago, I had like the Fisherman's Wharf house, which I think was one of the best houses that I've ever been to. It was just a creative one, which I kind of like those. So it'd be the three that I'm kind of looking the most forward to. And obviously, Fortnitemares for the Scare Zone, I think is one that I think that'll be just awesome. I see no reason as to why that would not be a hit. And then some of the food items that we have at ours, which I think will be pretty similar to your guys, a little different. They have some of this beef jerky stuff that's with Stranger Things 5 from whatever, which I forgot in that season. She eats beef jerky to refuel.
Ooh, dude. So I'm telling you right now, so that beef jerky can, again, another item that's going to sell out within no time at all. If you want this, get it. Don't hesitate.
I would do want that, but I thought the same thing. I'm like, I could see that thing being sold out by the time we probably get to food, maybe. But maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be one, because we're going to do the early stay and scream stuff. So we're going to get in at 2, and I believe the event starts at 5:30. But you can roam around before then. So a lot of this stuff isn't open before Halloween Horror Nights actually starts, but sometimes some of this stuff will be available ahead of time. I don't know if that will or not. Let's see. You got, that's Netflix Stranger Things L's Battery Jerky, but it also has mac and cheese in it, which is interesting. Ooh. Creamy mac and cheese with garlic bread and battery jerky pieces. And then the Prince of Darkness cake is a 3-tiered mini carrot cake with cream cheese mousse and a chocolate bat. Not only does that sound cool, that sounds delicious.
That does. As long as I don't know if it's going to be dark chocolate, because
I'm not a big. It probably is, if I were to guess, because dark. Yeah, I'm not a dark chocolate guy either, but cream cheese frosting is always the best frosting. I don't care what cake it is. That is the frosting you should always be using.
Oh, for sure. I think for content purposes, I'm going to make myself suffer and eat it. So,
and sometimes, like, I'm not a big dark chocolate fan, but sometimes dark chocolate isn't as bitter as some. I think that's the issue with it. Sometimes it can just be really bitter, but maybe it won't be for this one. But I'll get it, regardless. And then they do have an Evil Dead lasagna burn, which is ground pork and chili crisp pot sticker lasagna, which I think is
That
this one. Yeah, it kind of looks interesting. Now this one, this will be popular. So
what?
this is rigatoni ritual pie. So
What?
it's garlic buttered cheese pizza with baked rigatoni, a la vodka, crispy sausage, and pesto. So they usually have it's in I think it's the Tony's. I think it's called Tony's Pizza Place. It's a pizza place that's over near uh the Mummy Coaster.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
they always have like a pasta pizza. And last year it was like a spaghetti pizza that was really popular. So this one I think will be really, really popular. Which I would like to try it if the weight's not too terrible. But listen, if you're going to carbo load, this is where you do it. You just get your carbs in early, then you're ready to go the rest of the night. Because I imagine if you ate that whole thing, you're probably talking 150 grams of carbs would be my guess, or something along those lines. But we have a Jack and Odd dog, a foot-long beef hot dog with peppers, onions, and cheese sauce, topped with spicy cheese puffs on an ube bun. So there's that. Got a lot of drinks. Let's see. This is cannoli chips at Guido's Gelato in Louis' Italian restaurant.
Cannoli chips, huh?
Shards of cannoli shell dipped in pumpkin pie filling. Okay, this sounds delicious.
That
Pitas and cannoli filling topped with chocolate chips. I will take, I'll do that. That sounds really good, actually.
See, this is the one thing I'm jealous about. Like, I mean, that sounds awesome, but one of the things I like an alien drink at the Dead Coconut Club. You know how bad when I went out there, I wanted to go into the Red Coconut Club because I think it's awesome that Universal uses that space and they change it out seasonally and do overlays, which is fantastic.
If you can ever get into it. I have yet to be in there when it's themed because I think they rent it out a lot for corporate events. So its hours are weird. But yeah, I mean, from what I've seen a picture, my wife's been in there before, like Christmas time. Like, it's a really cool atmosphere. It's just not consistent on when it's open. It's the only beef I have about it. But I agree, that drink does sound pretty good because it's a vodka cocktail with blue Sirocco, pineapple juice, and cream of coconut, which that'll taste really good. Cream of coconut is what they use in margaritas a lot. So that usually makes it pretty good. Jake here says, I'm hoping that carrot cake doesn't have nuts in it. It does not. My wife is allergic to nuts, and so she looked into this and she was like, I can get this. So I don't believe that the carrot cake has nuts, which I'm not allergic to nuts, but I don't know why people put nuts in dessert. I was like, just
no,
like, I'm good. It's like the same thing with like certain fruits. Like, I can do like a banana bread, banana pudding, things like that. But for the most part, outside of like apple pie and things, I don't need a lot of fruit in my desserts. Just give me I'm eating the dessert for the sugar anyways. Just give me the good stuff, and then I'll have fruit. But I have some of the food. Obviously, they got some merchandise you can obviously get. Now, something interesting that we have, and I learned what this was, and it's from Japan. So there's going to be a Hammy Kuma meet and greet going on during Halloween Horror Nights.
We had that last year.
Okay. So apparently they're going to have some bears and stuff you can get as well at $5 a dime. So, I mean, that whole thing sounds nuts to me, but listen, Japan's wild. They do some crazy stuff. So they're going to have that there, and then some other things. So again, we're going to do this. Our plan is we're going to do Stay and Scream. So we're staying at Cabana Bay. And so the way it works for Orlando is if you're an AP and you're already in the park and you have a Halloween Horror Nights ticket, you can automatically do the early Scream stuff. If you don't have a theme park ticket that day or an AP, you do have to buy, I think it's $70 for the early access. But you're going to have 3 houses that are associated with that. Let me find those 3 houses.
See, that's kind of like what we deal with. Ours is anywhere from $15 to $30, and usually there's 2 or 3 houses we can have access to for early entry. None of the, I'm trying to remember if there was like 1 or 2 food items or food booths that was available. I'm not too sure about that, but for the early access ticket, we usually have 2 to 3 houses that are available.
Yeah, and it's like if you want to, I mean, especially if you're not going to get Express Pass, taking advantage of the early opening stuff is going to set you up for the most to get out of it. So it's
Okay.
definitely something I would, if you're not going to get Express Pass, definitely look at maybe doing that.
So
Uh,
I'm going to call it right now, though. I'm going to be honest with you. Between both coasts, I'm telling you right now, Hellraiser and Ozzy, two of the houses that are going to have the most longest wait times out of everything else.
oh,
Guaranteed.
100%.
Guaranteed.
No, without a doubt. Yeah, yeah. I think that is without a doubt going to be the way that that plays out. So some of the details. This comes from WWNT. So the three houses. So early entry begins. This is welcoming guests at 2 p.m. Stranger Things 5, Hellraiser, and Jack and Oddfellow Chaos and Control. Then there's going to be two more houses that you can do. I don't know if those have been officially named, which one it's going to be, but you're going to have access to two more houses. So by the time the event starts at 5:30, you theoretically could have 5 houses already done, which
That's
gives
crazy.
you a really big head start. So that's why for us, like we looked at, same thing for us. We're Premier Pass holders, so our HHN ticket is free. We just have to claim it. We have to say which day we're going. But we figured, okay, we have a free ticket. We'll splurge and get the Express Pass because we've never done it. And that's kind of what, it's still cheaper than doing a Disney or Disney's Halloween party at that price. So we're like, let's go and do that. So for us, we can go back hopefully and maybe do some of those houses again and maybe do some of these houses more than once is kind of the thinking there. So I would say if you're on the fence, take advantage of that. And then the event goes on until 2 a.m. And we're saying Cabana. One reason we say Cabana Bay is because they also have some theme stuff. Some of the resorts are doing HHN stuff as well, but
Nice.
they will have not all the hotels, but a lot of these hotels will have food available after 2 a.m. So
Wow.
when you're coming back hungry, it's a limited short menu of stuff you kind of grab and go, but you at least can get some food before you go to bed. So that was one thing.
Nice.
If you're staying, which I don't know if we're going to stay till 2 a.m., that's late. But if we are, I'm going to want some food by the time, we're probably before we go to bed or something. So
Recarbo load.
recarb load. You got to refuel. You got to get up, you got to replenish those glycogen stores. But
So,
go ahead. What are you saying?
no, I was going to say those three houses that you have listed for the early entry. I guarantee you that Jack and Oddfellow and Stranger Things 5, everyone's running the Hellraiser. I'm telling you right now. Those other
Well,
two.
the fact I was really after I was hearing the early reviews of Hellraiser and seeing that was part of the early access, I was very happy about that because I agree with you. I think Stranger Things and Hellraiser and probably even Jack and Oddfellow are going to be some of the highest wait time houses. So it really is quite an advantage to get those out of the way. And then the thinking, so typically the way it goes in Orlando, at least, if you do show up, like you got the opening ceremonies that take place like right at 5:30, you're obviously that's when most people are coming in. You have until about 8 p.m. before like every house is bogged down with like 90-minute waits. That's just typically how it goes. So you can knock those 5 out, then go hit. If it was me and didn't have Express Pass, I would go to some of these other houses that, maybe aren't anticipating as much traffic. Maybe some of those original IP houses, those are not, or you just hit the IP houses then and then circle back. So there's a method. You can kind of pick the houses you want to do. But if you don't have Express Pass, I would agree with what you said as well. Pick your highest priority houses and be like, okay, I want to do maybe the top 3, set your evening up around that. And then just kind of on some level, you kind of have to see how the event is unfolding. That's just
Yeah.
kind of what you have to do. So you might find yourself on a night that's not that bad. Maybe if it's a rainy night, which rain's always a factor in Orlando. Of tonight's maybe rain. It's been raining like crazy in Florida, so it might rain all night. But the houses are indoors, so at least you have that part of it. So I would say that like go in expecting like, okay, I want to hit the top 3, whatever food items you want to get, and then if you're able to do more, then that's like icing on the cake. I would not go in assuming you're going to do all these houses because chances are you're just not going to.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't know if you have the capability to pull up the map because there's some questions I want to ask you specifically about the studio park for you guys. Because being that there's massive construction happening with the Fast and Furious coaster, and I know in that area, if memory serves me correct, there were some entry points to get to some of the houses for HHN. So I wonder how they rerouted that because due to the construction.
Yeah, I had some questions too, because that is usually where the entrance was for Rip Ride Rocket, was where one of the haunted houses was. Let me find a different map here.
Okay.
I know there was a map. We had this the other day.
I'm curious.
Actually, my wife had this. My wife is the producer. She gets all the information. I thought we had it in our show notes. Let me bring that up real quick, because I know there was one. It was a really good map of. Let's see here. I know she had the link in here. Let me find it. Well, too much dead time. Oh, she didn't put it in here.
Uh-oh.
Well, we got here. Let me find. Hold on here. I found one that had a map. Hold on. Doing some research. Well, I'm looking at that. We did have a super chat come in from Il Magic. Thank you, Il Magic, with a $20. Hope you're doing well, Il Magic. Because what about a Puff Daddy haunted house where guests have to watch their step on the floor? That's covered in baby oil while they hear P. Diddy's voice whispering from the speakers saying, "Take that, take that, take that." That would be the most terrifying house I can actually think of, to be honest. Like, imagine you're just going through a house and it's like you're already like slipping and sliding. You just hear Puff Dad be like, "Watch out for that oil." You're just like, "Oh, get out of this house."
God.
That you may have come up with a house that may not ever happen, but be the most terrifying thing I can actually think of, to be quite honest. That's
Hey, I would think so, quite frankly.
that is some terrifying. Yeah, that is absolutely terrifying. All right, here is one. WWNT has one here. It's not the best map, but for our purposes here, we'll use this because I can't find another one. So you have. Let me pull this up here. What do they have? What are they marking on here? What am I supposed to do with this?
Hold on.
Yeah, I know there's a better map. I just cannot.
Yeah, there
Okay.
is. I found one on Reddit. I don't know how accurate it is, and it only shows a little bit of a picture. But
Okay.
Let's see.
Let me look again. So we're doing some producing on the fly here. We'll find this. I know there's a really good map that I think it was Discover Universal had.
Oh, really?
But when I pulled their article up, it didn't have it in there, and I thought I remember seeing it in there before. Here's an Instagram. Hold on. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this on the fly. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. Oh, that's not gonna work.
I'm very curious because I want to.
Can I open image in new tab? Oh, that's too small. Dang it! I hate when it shows you Instagram photos because a lot of times it's not the actual thing. Okay, here's some.
No, it's not.
That's not the right one. Why is it showing me stuff from like 3 years ago? Don't give me 3 years ago. Give me this year. What is this? This is here. Okay, I found one.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. See, we'll figure it out eventually. Just takes us, Yeah, it's Friday. It's Friday. What do you want from us? Okay. So here's the map here we have.
Oh, that's the one I pulled up. Okay.
That's the one you found too?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're looking here, this is the main entryway when you walk in where my mouse is right there. That is where you're going to have, let's see, color coordinate this. Yeah, that's Carnival of Nightmares when you walk in. And then here to the left, which is near the stage show, there is going to be where Alien Abduction is.
Okay.
So I imagine they're still using, and you're right with the construction going on, but the most construction is down here now. So this path may be kind of open that I think is still there. At least the entrance to it will be there. And then you're going to have Madlands right there. And then you're also going to have Ozzy Osbourne right here as well. So 3 right here. You're going to have Ozzy, Madlands, and Alien Abduction right there when you walk in.
Gotcha.
In that area. And then when you go into the New York section, that is where you're going to have Downtown Clowntown. And you're also going to have Hellraiser's house right there as well.
So I actually found a little bit bigger map.
Okay.
It's somewhat exactly the same, but it's a little bit bigger, like a bigger image.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you want to keep going.
Yeah, there we go. And then let's see, when you go down, so you go down a little further after the New York section, and you're going to have Cybergoria down there. That's going to be kind of before you get to the San Francisco area right there, or right near it. And then in the San Francisco area is when you're going to have Club Horror. I forgot to mention Club Horror, which is a club they set up. It's going to be right outside the Fast and Furious well, it used to be supercharged, but now it's closed. But the gift shop right there, it's kind of like a little bar dance area. I guess it's supposed to be like a nightclub, essentially. And then you go down further near this, you keep going down there, and that's where you're going to have Death Eaters, obviously in Diagon Alley. You can ride Escape from Gringotts during the event if you want to. It's going to be open. Then you go down here by Men in Black in that area, which is they usually have a house or two down there. You're going to have that is where what is that there? Nightmare Fuel is going to be in the Fear Factor building. And then you've got after that, you're going to run into Hell. Wait, they have Hellraiser in here twice, do they?
Oh, do they? Or is this?
Oh, I'm sorry. Revenge of the Hellraiser is not in the New York section. I read that wrong. That's just going to be Revenge of the Mummy, and then Hellraiser is in the back of the park. So that's where it's going to be back here with Sinners. So those two are going to be back there, right near Men in Black. And then you're going to have on the other corner, HR Blood and Guts is down there as well, which I believe is the same place that they had Slaughter Cinema a couple years ago. So very similar setup to that one, probably. And then you go down toward the, going around the bend toward the Simpsons area. They usually have a house there. That is where you're going to have Alien Invasion there. So what did I get wrong? Sorry, I can't read. You're right. The map I had was wrong. So when you first walk in, that's going to be Jack and Oddfellow. Then you're going to have Madlands, and then you're going to have Ozzy Osbourne right there.
Gotcha.
Back here. Yeah, Blood Guts is back there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
that makes way more sense. Yeah, I agree. That makes more sense than what I
I mean, at least they're working around the construction, which is nice. So I don't know, because it just seemed like when I was there looking at the construction walls, looking at where they had them placed, it was going to be a cluster F trying to get, to the houses that they have in that back corner.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And then you keep going. The Fortnitemares is going to be in the area over there by like DreamWorks Land and Central Park. That's where that's going to be. Obviously, you got the Stranger Things show there. And then the Mel's Die-In, which is going to be another, not a scare zone, but it's sort of like a little area you walk through. It says Hungry Horde of Zombie Car Hops has taken over Mel's Die-In. And the good news is the service is to die for. So if you don't know with ours, they make it where it says Mel's Die-In instead of Mel's Diner.
I do like that.
It is cool.
And actually, I think your guys' version of Mel's Die-Er is actually really cool because you guys, obviously, your guys' Mel's Diner has a bigger footprint. So you have the cars outside, which are really cool. And then I think you guys have some of the Mel's Diner like zombie characters walking around too.
Yes, they do walk around. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. And then right near there, not too far from there, when you get on Hollywood Boulevard, that is where Sideshow of Decay Scare Zone is going to be. And that kind of gives you a full lap there. So, I mean, when you look at the map here, honestly, if I didn't have Express Pass, it may not be a terrible idea to go to the back of the park and hit some of these first. Because listen, this isn't always the case, but I know in some years later in the night, maybe after midnight, some of these houses at the front don't get as much traffic later on because a lot of people have navigated toward the back of the park. But Ozzy being right here, I don't know how much that demand will fall off as the night goes along.
I don't think it's going to fall off at all. I think
I don't either.
I think as the night continues, it's only going to get busier.
Yeah. No, I agree there. So that's the way the map is looking like. So obviously they're trying to spread some things out here, but that's how that goes. And like I said, if you don't have Express Pass, I'd pick your top 3 and be like, these are the ones we're going to hit. And then if you're able to do more, then you're like, hey, it did more than we thought. But you don't want to go in disappointed thinking you're going to do everything. And then it's like, oh, we only got to like 4 houses, which is possible. I mean, it depends on the night you go and your real strategy going into this. I also would wait to get food until 8, 9 o'clock maybe. Because to me, I would rather spend that early part of the party getting as much done with these houses as you can.
Definitely.
Because that is the stuff that's going to have the higher wait times. Then maybe once 8 or 9 o'clock hits, then go get some food, maybe check out the shows. And then not every single time, but a lot of times most people leave after like close around midnight, and so sometimes these other houses can have lower wait times. But that's also where you just have the app out and just check wait times and see what it's looking like, and kind of play it by ear. That's part of this too, is how the event's unfolding while you're there. You could get some pockets where something dips down, or watch out for it and things like that. So it's, kind of have a plan, but also be flexible. I've always said it's the best way to go after when you're doing like special events, just because
Sure.
each night of any party kind of has its own little, the way it flows. And
Oh,
so,
definitely.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, because one of the things I've been seeing for the last couple weeks is you guys are your archway is getting a complete remodel. What's going on with that, and
I
how's
was
it
gonna
going to impact HHN?
I was gonna mention this, and I don't know why they chose to do this right now, but out of all the times to be doing this, they decided to do it right before HHN, which now I think the plan here, which I think will look really good when it's done, is they're gonna paint our archway much closer to what your guys looks like out in Hollywood.
So the white.
Yes. And so they have a scrim up of this right now because they're painting it now, I suppose. I don't know what's going on with this stuff over here, but I think all this is getting that white overlay for kind of that gold font, which I think looks really cool. I just don't know why they waited until, you know, late August, right before Halloween Horror Nights to start this. Maybe it'll be done before. I mean, I'm imagining it's mostly just a paint job here, but that is what's going on with our scrim. They do have the medallion up, but yeah, I was like, why did you wait? Why didn't you do this in like July? Like just beginning of, mid-July or something. But
Well,
seems a little hard.
I find it very interesting, Jared, because didn't you guys for your archway, when the Studios Park opened back in the day, wasn't your archway white originally?
It was much more yeah, it was much more closer to what you guys kind of have now. And then they changed the color scheme of it. So I actually think this will look better. I think that does pop better and look better. It's just I don't know, the timing of it's interesting. But
Yeah.
Jake here says the waits tonight in Orlando are already bad. Oh yeah, well, opening night.
Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. I'm curious. I want to know. I want to know.
I'll pull it up right now.
So I'm going to look it up myself too, because I have the Universal Orlando app. I never got rid of it.
How dare you? Don't they have that thing region locked? I'm just kidding. Let's see. Yeah, let me into the app.
Let's see.
Let's look at wait times. Okay, here's Halloween Horror Nights. All right. It looks like, oh my gosh, this map is so. Just give me the haunted house. Okay. Well, they don't have any wait. Okay. Cybergoria is 45 minutes. Evil Dead Burn is 45. HR Blood Guts is 65. Hellraiser is 45. It's kind of surprising.
Interesting.
Invasion Alien Abduction is 50. Jack and Oddfellow is 55.
Ooh, Ozzy.
Madlands is 75. Oh gosh, Ozzy's is 120 minutes already. And this isn't even the peak time. So it's 7:20 right now. The peak of this will get to like 8-9 o'clock. So yeah, Ozzy is going to be, man.
The one I'm shocked about is Stranger Things 5 is an hour, and that's more than, what was it? Hellraiser.
That doesn't surprise me though, because Stranger Things is so much more known than Hellraiser is. But I imagine if Hellraiser is as good as some people have said it is, word will get out about that, and then that will take up a lot more of the wait times versus Stranger Things. So opening night could look different than other events, but
Definitely.
yeah, you're already. I mean, you've got one. Let's see, you've got one house under an hour. Oh, so you got Alien Invasion and Hellraiser and Evil Dead Burn and Cybergoria are under an hour. Everything else is an hour or more.
Okay, so I want to ask you about this. Obviously, you can't pull it up on screen what we're looking at on our phones, but I found it very interesting. If you go past the houses and you go to the bottom of the page, it says event. So it says Haunted House Access Path A and Haunted House Access Path B. Is that due to the construction, or have they always done that?
I think they've always done that.
Okay.
I don't think any of the current construction on that coaster, from what it looks like, I don't think it's impacted any of the haunted houses they usually do. So I think they probably went out of their way to make sure of that. So that's what, yeah, I think
Gotcha.
that's how that normally is. But yeah, so that's basically the preview here for Halloween Horror Nights on both coasts. It's obviously ours starts tonight, and I'm maybe looking at those wait times to see how that flows because we're going to be there next Thursday to check it out. Have express pass, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think especially with looking at some of these wait times right now and having that early access, it's going to come in very handy with that because if at that point, you know, we do those 5 houses, probably immediately we'll go do Ozzy as soon as we can because that house is going to be. And so I think earlier in the evening, the better, because I can imagine the Ozzy house. I won't be shocked tonight if we get close to like 9-10 o'clock, if that house is like, I mean, you could even see that thing 150 minutes or more. Like, I think it could get really, really up there. So
well, you have to think about it, and I didn't mention this for the Hollywood version, and I'm glad you brought it up. So opening weekend, I talked about how chaotic it can be. Also, with the celebrities that are going to be there, what causes congestion as well. I don't know if you guys get it out in Orlando, but out here in Hollywood, a lot of times they'll close down the house and they'll have the big news TV cameras go in there with the big lights and big cameras and shit, and it could delay the house for like an extra 45 minutes. Especially if they have the actors from that night walking through it. It can delay it massively.
I've never been on opening night. So I don't know if I don't know if they do that at ours or not, but I wouldn't be surprised on some level. But yeah. I mean, it's also gonna be really busy tonight because the first one, you got all the, you know, influencer. The first night of any party is just the craziest, one of the craziest ones you'll go to.
For sure.
And other thing too is if you do want to have the best chance of, if you're not getting express pass to get the most done, I would pick a weeknight. The weekends are going to be nuts, absolutely crazy. So if you do like a Thursday night or something like that, you might be able to get some more done there, just depending. It used to be the weeknights were way less busier. I don't think there's that much of a difference now anymore, but I would still say that's your best bet if you're looking to go on a lower crowded night, is to pick a weeknight versus like a Saturday, or maybe sometimes Sunday nights can be less busy just because the weekends and people have work and stuff the next day. So, you know, those two could be. But Friday and Saturday night, I don't even know. Unless you just want to walk around with the atmosphere and you can go multiple nights or something, maybe then. But if you're trying to get them, you know, the most done, I don't think I would pick a Friday or Saturday night to go do that.
And I hear you on that. Like, for example, like I talked about at the beginning, if I come out there, because me and George are trying to plan going out there next summer, and then we were talking about trying to hit maybe booking for the Disney Believe for the main voyage, and being that the Disney Cruise Lines, especially for the main voyage, it seems like it's a repetitive thing about them doing the main voyage in the winter time, or like, you know, fall winter time.
Right.
So we're going to try to plan it around. And if the stars are lined up just perfect and it's around HHN, I'm coming down there. We're doing the RIP tour. It'll be your first time, my first time. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to have the time of our life. I'm
down. I'm down for that. That'd be awesome. And we do the same thing. Like I said, we're going to go, part of the plan is next year to go to California. So if we can hit both, you know, go, because I do want to do a comparison. Because do your guys' wait times, like I've seen in previous years where your guys' wait times maybe don't get as high as ours, or is it just as busy as Orlando's?
I think we're just as busy as Orlando's. Like, I mean, it really honestly depends. Like, after opening weekend, it could vary. Like, I mean, I would say the first 2 weekends get absolutely ape nuts, but after that, it's not as bad, but it still can get bad. It really honestly depends on, you know, how things line up.
Right.
It's really a guessing game. It's not a spot on, like, accurate, oh yeah, it's going to be busy this weekend, it's not going to be busy the next weekend. It kind of hit or miss.
It's kind of how they've gone on both coasts, where, I mean, you know, I think theme parks are just getting more popular. Things like this, obviously Halloween. And I don't know about this year. you call me basic, but I'm really excited. You got like pumpkin stuff now with coffee available. Like
Oh
our
yeah.
weather does not match the vibe of fall, but I'm ready for fall. Like
Hey,
I'm
if you really want to get weird, let's get weird for a second.
I was like to get weird.
Costco, we're already carrying pumpkin pies.
You guys already have Christmas stuff out.
Yeah, we already have Christmas stuff out. I'm not even kidding. That's not a lie.
I walked in the other day and I texted my wife and I was like, they have so much Christmas stuff out right now. And she's like,
Yeah.
seriously? I'm like, yes. Like August 22nd had like all this Christmas and Halloween. I'm like, this is out of control.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Okay. Starting in September, it would not shock me. I'm being honest with you. It would not shock me if we start getting a lot of the Christmas treats, like the cookies, the gift baskets. It would not shock me one bit.
It wouldn't me either. I've called it the holiday wars, where Halloween just keeps encroaching more and more. Like we're into August, and it's like, and honestly, I think it's plausible. Like with the Disney parties and stuff, you could see that stuff creep into late July. I wouldn't be shocked if they did. Now I don't know about HHN. They've shown a little bit more restraint. Like this is starting for us out further than Mickey's Not So Scary has. So they are showing some restraint there. But I think when you're talking about Orlando, this is the biggest event that Orlando Universal puts on. I've heard numbers up to like 40% of their overall revenue comes in from HHN. So it's a huge, huge thing for Universal Orlando.
Same here in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's a massive event. And so I think they're only going to continue to capitalize on it, which is why I do think they may expand it to where you may have 2 more houses in here. Maybe this could, there's a lot of questions about, you got Epic Universe or Dark Universe. They could do, if anybody, OG's question earlier about like another type of Halloween party, I think Universal could do something kind of more in the middle. I don't think they would try and take on Mickey's Not So Scary vibe, but I could see them doing something with like Dark Universe or like Celestial Park, things like that. You could do some really cool stuff in there. So they might do that in the coming years, but I think the biggest thing is they're going to try and protect HHN as much as possible. And yeah, it's just, I'm really, really glad. Like when the last time we went, we were just like, we're just gonna splurge to get Express Pass, because the last one we went to, we were doing really good. We had knocked out like 4 or 5 houses. It was like 8 o'clock. It's like, man, we're doing awesome. Like we might get all this done. And then we hit this line, and it just, how it just takes all the momentum out. And it was like 90 minutes, and I was like, oh my gosh, and it just broke me. I was like, I can't do this. And like for me, standing in line wears me out more than walking around a theme park does.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So we were sitting there, and I was just like, all right, we're just gonna get Express Pass next time. Like I just want to see what that's like. And I'm very glad, because I think especially with Ozzy and just how big this event's gotten, it's gonna be a very useful thing. But it's like, listen, it's an all day, like we're gonna be there from 2 p.m. I mean, who knows how late we stay, but that's a long day. That's a long day. But I will give, when you talk about the price of this stuff, you get a lot for your money at HHN. I mean, you get a long time in this party.
You do.
And so I think I think when it's not anything for like Fan Fest out in Hollywood, you guys, that was a pretty good value for as much time as you got, as much stuff going on. So I will give it, granted, if you're just getting the base level ticket, you're probably not going to be able to do everything. So it's kind of like an entry point to it. But I think if you couple that with, like, if you really do want to try and get the most done and you don't want to spend the money on Express Pass, that early entry thing is probably worth it. It's $70, but if you want to even get the most of the houses done, that gives you 5 houses before the event even starts.
I'm gonna tell you this. One thing I've noticed in years past, especially with Universal Hollywood, is someone like myself that's a Platinum Pass holder. Usually, and I've told George this, I've told Tommy and others, usually I'll go into the park before that 5 o'clock deadline where they start kicking people out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just hang in the park. And then when they start kicking people out, I'll show my credentials, either if I have the RIP tour ticket, if I have the Platinum Pass free ticket, or I have the Express Unlimited ticket with early entry. I'll just show that, and then they'll direct me to another area of the park where I get a wristband, and then I just walk back into the park deeper, and I just hang out. And, obviously Universal staff come up to me. I just show my wristband, and then I'm good to go.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Like, I mean, instead of waiting in the long ass lines outside the gates,
Yes.
if you're someone like me that you're the top tier pass and you already have a ticket for the event and you have early entry, just stay in the park and ask a team member where you can get the wristband because they'll hand the wristband out for early entry and then stay in the park.
That's a great point. I was actually gonna mention that. I'm not specifically sure exact areas, but like you said, go ask a team member because you're gonna save a lot of time not having to go back out, wait through that line to do that. And then, I mean, and they used to at ours, they had you like in a pin and you couldn't go
Well,
anywhere. Now you can roam around. So if there is some
that's
food options that are available, you can hit those before the thing even starts. So that way you knocked out some of the food items, you knock out some of the houses early, and then like you are a pretty good advantage at that point. And then you can really kind of the first thing we'll probably do is look at the wait times and what that's looking like going into like the last house we're doing before the event starts, and then see what it's looking like. But I imagine we're going to hit Ozzy pretty early, just because everyone and their mom is going to go to the Ozzy house. So I think that's one to if you can knock that one out early, I would not wait for that one and thinking, oh, the wait times might go down, because I think it may just be the exact opposite. It may be one of those houses. Sometimes you get these houses where the wait times just never drop. It just stays high the entire night. But no, it's a good time. If you've never been, it's a really cool time. It is one of the most unique theme park atmospheres I've ever been in. And even as somebody who doesn't like the horror genre, I thoroughly enjoy Halloween Horror Nights. And so, my wife and I have a really good time. And then hopefully next year, we'll do RIP or something. That'd be really awesome. And it is a lot more fun with friends. Like when you go with a group of people, it's just more fun to do. But yeah, go around and I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, when are you doing HHN? You're doing opening night out there, right?
Yeah, so the same night you're going, Thursday, that's when ours officially kicks off for, the general public, because I think on Tuesday it's going to be for me, not media, it's going to be for employees and a +1. And actually, I'm kind of jealous. Tommy Toon is actually going with an employee, so
Oh,
he's going to
nice.
be there on Tuesday night. And I recommended it to him because I said it's kind of like a race for content. Like at a lot of these events, I said,
Yeah.
here's what you do. Here's your game plan. Film everything. Film the houses. Film everything. Have it upload to YouTube. And Thursday afternoon, when they start letting people in, you drop those houses like crazy and watch your stuff
Yeah.
skyrocket.
That's a
Telling
good way to do it. And we'll
you. Yeah.
do so well, yeah, when you go and I go, we'll also see, like, I know OG is gonna go, Tommy. Maybe
Yeah.
we get Tommy and OG, we'll do like a review stream
Oh,
talking about
for
the
sure.
like that'd be a lot of fun because I want to compare the Aussie houses. I think
Yes.
that's gonna be really interesting to see those two. And like I do enjoy those differences between those houses in there. So we'll do that maybe I'd say within 2 weeks, probably get that handled out, and then
Yeah.
maybe even next weekend, because your guys, maybe if everybody's around, we'll do something like that. But yeah, that'll be a fun one to do. And then
I think that would be good because someone from the Orlando houses will have a POV video up, meaning media, and
right.
then one of us, you could pull up one of our videos and do a comparison and kind of figure out, okay, where the differences like. Because like I said, something with the Aussie, I don't think it's going to be identical. It's going to be two separate walkthroughs
Yeah.
based on the same IP. So I'm very curious.
That and like Stranger Things, I imagine they do separate scenes. So like
Yeah.
which one's better? Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So we'll get that set up and maybe do it next weekend or sometime the coming weeks here. But that's all I've got. Anything else you want to add for Halloween Horror Nights?
No, I'm excited though.
I
I
am too.
am excited. I mean, D23 was a wild, like the Wild West, but this is even more like the Wild West. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I am as well. I'm gonna be walking around just with my pumpkin cream cold brew, just happy walking around. I am the definition of a simple. Like the minute those hit, my wife was like, "I'm gonna go get Starbucks. Do you want something?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I want a pumpkin cream cold brew." I'm not a big Starbucks guy at all, but I do like those cold brews like that. So
Heck,
I'll be that guy with my pumpkin stuff, and I may try. I'll definitely have more of a focus on food this year than I have before at HHN. So I'm kind of excited about that because I will say Universal's food has gotten a lot better the past like 5 years.
I
So
think so.
a lot of stuff I think is much more, some of their price points are kind of up there. But one thing I will say, if you get that dining pass, you do get your AP discount on top of that. So you get that free like $30 or whatever that value is. And then you get your AP discount. So you actually get some pretty good value if you're going to go that route with the food. So that if you're planning on eating, I would say even like, I don't know, if you're even planning on spending $50 and you plan on going to Universal again, like I said, you can use that dining pass another time at the parks. So you're just kind of having free money that you can use later on too. So
Definitely.
not a bad idea there. But before we get out of here, though, let everybody know where they can find you out there, Mr. Theme Park Conductor, and what you got going on, talking about HHN and everything else going around the parks.
Absolutely. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1, and every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we have amazing guests like the one, the only, Mr. Jared from Capture the Magic, from our East Coast correspondent, where he covers all East Coast things, meaning Walt Disney World guests having a little too much of a good time and ruining it for everyone else. And so many
day at Disney, really.
Well, of course. And then you got Universal, where there's some lovable characters there too, which I won't get into. And we just have a great time talking about the parks. We have a great time interacting with the chat. The chat's been awesome lately on all the streams, including your theme parking live streams. Like, I mean, there's been some great questions. So I'm very happy to collaborate with you on a lot of this content. And I want to give a big shout out to you as well for hosting this live stream. It's always a great time talking anything theme park related.
Well, I appreciate that. And the chat's awesome. You guys are great. Yeah, theme park, and that chat will fly by. If I try to find something, I'm like, and it's like, sometimes I can't even keep up with it. So it's a good thing. And thank you guys in here for hanging out as well. Always a good time, especially on a impromptu Friday live stream here. But we would try to do more of these, and always something to talk about in theme parks. But speaking of only things you see at HHN, a couple years ago, I was coming out of a haunted house, and I was with a couple of buddies of mine. And I wear these shoes. They're called cane shoes. They're kind of like Crocs, but they look like tennis shoes. I love them. So this guy's like, I can't remember if it was the guy or the girl. She's like, oh, what kind of shoes are those? And I was like, oh, so I told them. And they're like, really? No, oh, thank you very much. Walked away. And it was a dude. They both had leather on. She had a collar with a leash on it that he was holding, pulling her around. And I was like, huh. You don't really see that every day in a theme park. Like, just so casually. They were super nice. And I was just like, not typically something you see in a theme park. But yeah, sometimes you might see, people dressed in leather daddy outfits having people on leashes. I don't know. Whatever. They looked like they're having a good time. So I don't know.
Well,
not your typical thing you see on a typical day at a theme park. So I was
like, man, I wish there was an article and you put that for members only, because I wish
I honestly would have got a picture, because they actually recognized me. The guy was like, oh, I've seen your videos. I really like the content. I'm like, oh, thanks. I just started talking to him, and I was like, I should have got a picture, because I don't think anybody believes me that I was like, no, he had a leash on her. And they're like, no. I'm like, yes. People saw it. It was there. If it happens again, I'll get a picture of it. But no, if you're on Conductor's side, you can find me at Captain Magic over here. I do daily videos, live streams, all sorts of stuff over here. Like I said, Conductor's always on here. You got OG, you got Vash, you got a lot of people that talking about the very similar things here with the East Coast flair. So if you're curious about that, that's what I have going on here. If you even want more and even probably more detailed HHN stuff, my wife and I have our podcast at CTM Podcast on YouTube. We did a full breakdown of like everything to do with Halloween Horror Nights, as well as Food and Wine going on. So if you want to go check out more, I would say like reviews, strategies, stuff like that going around the theme parks themselves, go check that out over there as well. That channel is actually going really well. We're almost at 2,000 subs over there.
Wow.
We just started that one like 2 years ago. So it's going good. So listen, my wife's very smart. She is the producer. Like, I couldn't even do this channel. Like, she all the time gives me stuff, and she's always finding news and has good ideas. So she's a integral part on both ends, but she's not as visible on this one. But from time to time, she might hop on when we do the roundup thing. I might have her hop on, because she's been to quite a few of them, and can she's been going to HHN longer than me. So sometimes she'll talk about houses that I'm not even aware of and things like that. So,
and I can concur. meeting your wife at Epcot and talking to her for about 10-15 minutes, I could see how the brilliant mind of her works. Like, I mean,
Oh yeah,
she's so knowledgeable. I kind of felt stupid talking to her. I'm like, how do you know all this?
she's been going to theme parks. I mean, when I met her, she didn't tell me about her love of going to like Disney or theme parks. Like she kind of kept that away. And then once we got married, she was like, I really like going to Disney. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I've been before. I was like, whatever. But she's the one that got me into theme parks. But yeah, she's a wealth of knowledge and she's very detail oriented. I'm big picture. Like I've always made the thing of like, we're gonna go this way. Like, how do we get there? Don't know, but we're going that way. And then she figures out the details. So it works good for us on that end. So, but no, she's really good. So you can go check that out there. But I think that's all we got here. It's almost 8:00 here on the East Coast. And I'm gonna grab a bite to eat, and I don't know what else. I don't know. See what it's probably still raining outside. I think it might be sunny. It's Florida. It could be bright and sunny now and just humid at this point. Who really knows? But thank you guys for hanging out with us. We will see you guys soon. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. So talk to you guys. Bye.